South Carolina. Did we have a pick six in that game?
Anaya Smith, punt return.
Punt return, okay. What else?
And then against Auburn, it was Michael Clemens with the
touchdown and
scoop
and the scoop score.
And then last week, it was Aaron Hansford with the scoop and score.
And thank you to Antonio Johnson. How about that big hit, right?
Yeah, Jawan Pass is not saying thank you.
Right.
But, man, that kid can really hit, can he?
Man, he can hit. Welcome in, everybody. We just had the Prairie View game. It's the on to the last SEC game of the year here on for Texas A&M. Not the biggest game of the year, but probably, and certainly not the moment of the year coming up, but the game that has, I guess, lasting effects on how we take in this season. We'll certainly do that as we present our highlights here. PV went the way we kind of expected, OB. It was the kind of game that we thought. I think maybe the only thing that I didn't get right, that you didn't get right, was maybe the rushing numbers from the starters. They didn't have to do much because the defense gave you that touchdown. It was a 52-3 beatdown of our friends right down the road. So we'll talk about that. But also some talking points, OB, to get into. Dan Mullen fired. I don't want to say as expected because it wasn't as expected, but I understand why it happened. And Billy tweeted yesterday that looks like he can confirm that Lane Kiffin will be coming to Kyle Field next year with either Ole Miss, Florida, or the University of Miami, because all three schools will be coming here.
Yeah, well, good. Chance to get some payback.
Some payback there. Texas keeps losing, and that's all I need to say about it. That is the statement. It's just fun to watch.
If Texas loses to Kansas State, as I expect they will, and if Kansas somehow beats West Virginia, Texas will finish last in the Big 12. They will be tied with Kansas, but technically had lost to Kansas, they would finish last. And quite frankly, if that was possible, and I don't know what the schedule is, but if the let's say the Texas game was first, if I was West Virginia, I'd probably throw it just for that reason.
Just for that reason. We were joking in the press box that there was a chance that Texas wasn't going to score, and you're like, we should just let Prairie View score just so PV has more points on the week than Texas.
Yeah. It was going to be a bad day for Prairie View anyway, but the first play of the game, they had a chance to score.
They did have a chance to score.
It reminded me, and I'm sorry to bring this up, Ags, but it reminded me of the 77-0 loss up at Oklahoma, where the first play of the game, Reggie McNeil just barely overthrew Terrence Murphy for what would have been a touchdown, and it went straight downhill from there, and it was kind of the same situation for the Prairie View Panthers.
If only we could have changed things there. So I guess if we're going to talk about some of the things from this game, OB, for the most part, the team stays clean. There are some injury situations that we'll be addressing here with Jimbo later on today. Caleb Chapman left the game early. Anias left the game. But overall, a clean game. Zach Calzada clean. Running game able to do what they needed to do. We got some youngsters in at the wide receiver spot. Defense looked good. Overall, it went the way it needed to go.
It did. What I was most disappointed with was that I thought I was going to be getting – my wife didn't even compliment my lead on my column, and I thought it was a moment of brilliance.
You had a moment of brilliance?
Yeah.
Which was your lead? I don't remember.
I said that the Prairie View defense looked like a deer in the headlights because of a moose in the highlights.
Oh, look at you, my friend.
Yeah, Moose.
The Moose.
The Moose was big. And here's what I was so impressed with Moose about was the touchdown catch he made when he was well covered.
Yeah.
I mean, forget that it's Prairie View. The guy was right on him, and it was a great throw. It was as good a throw as Zach Calzada threw last week. That wasn't completed because the receiver didn't get it.
Yes.
While well covered.
And this is with people coming in his face.
Right. But I'm talking about the receiver.
Sure.
Didn't make the catch because he's well covered, probably distracted. Moose is well covered.
Makes it.
It's almost a one-handed catch almost. But, man, so I don't know how you keep Moose on the sideline. I mean, I'm not saying he's got to be in the starting lineup now, and I know it's just Prairie View, but he showed enough to make you think, man, this guy, you got to see what this guy can do.
Well, I'm a big believer in letting your playmakers play. and he's a playmaker. He makes plays. He makes catches. He makes plays. He gets open.
How about that catch on the punt over the shoulder?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, let it go. Oh, no, that's an 18-yard. And dang near. I used to say that when I'd watch his highlights in high school, and I know that's just your best plays and everything in his high school, but every time I saw him, I kept thinking Christian Kirk.
There's a Christian Kirk vibe there, yeah.
But he was so much like, he was just like Anais Smith. He even changed his jersey number before. I mean, he was so much like Anais, making big catches downfield, making people miss, showing toughness. He almost had 3 touchdowns. He got stopped on the 1, but he was, it was a big catch at the 1. He was fighting his way. I mean, so close to getting the hat trick.
Yeah, he impressed. Keith Brown, one play.
It's a fast guy.
Fast dude. Now, you mentioned in your column that, we wish we would have seen that play at some other point. Am I remember seeing that play in the scrimmage, perhaps? Because I feel like I've seen Keith do something this year, but it obviously wasn't in a game.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, every day I get older, my memory gets worse. I don't recall seeing Keith on a reverse. But, man, I was thinking, that was beautiful, and you're doing it against Prairie View. I would like to see that creativity more, and I'd like to see it against
LSU
teams that matter.
LSU or perhaps Wisconsin?
No, what I'd want, perhaps Wisconsin. If I was against LSU this week, I'd want to use that as a decoy maybe to set something else up, because then LSU sees, hey, I think he's 8.
Yeah.
8's in there. Okay. We saw what happened. Oh, here it comes here. Oh, wait a minute.
And there's
the other way.
Yeah. And there's somebody down the field. Some other talking points to get into. Ohio State destroys Michigan State. I mean, what was it, like 45-0 at one point? Whatever it was ridiculous. And I think Ohio State is a story that can be applied here to A&M. You are not necessarily who you are at the beginning of the year. Ohio State, early on, we had some questions about them because they did not look good. Kind of like Oklahoma, but Oklahoma continued not to look the part. Ohio State got better and better. C.J. Stroud got way more comfortable. They started winning. I still want to see what happens this weekend against Michigan. But they have proven to me that they are not the same team at the beginning of the year. A&M, not the same team that started the season. Things started working. Oklahoma, probably the team that started the year. And Texas, worse than the team that started the year.
Oregon,
not the same team that went over there to Columbus and beat them. Absolutely.
So, I don't know.
That was an embarrassing loss.
For Michigan State or
both.
Or Oregon?
Oregon, 38-7.
Texas?
There are a lot of them.
Yeah. I was watching the Oregon-Utah game, and that was just an old-fashioned country butt whipping.
Yes, it was.
And I kind of like to see Oregon lose. Part of me, I used to really like them, and part of me kind of soured on them of late.
I don't really care. I will say that
maybe I'm mad at the Kelvin Banks situation,
and that could change. I'm actually kind of interested in Cincinnati. I'm not saying SMU is a big victory by any stretch, okay? And I see your face, but I kind of want to see what they do in the playoffs, just to see what they do in the playoffs.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can agree with that. Where would Cincinnati? I just wonder where Cincinnati's going to be slotted if Alabama has 2 losses, but they're interesting losses. Does Cincinnati get in? Does Oklahoma or Oklahoma State get left out in favor of Cincinnati? Does Alabama not get in, even though, let's say, they have a competitor? You're going to say, well, they got 2 losses, but they lost to the team that's going to finish in the top 10 if they win this week.
Yep.
A&M on a last play field goal, and you lost a competitive game to the number 1 team in the country, and you're going to tell me that team and Ole Miss is going to be in the top 10, right?
So who's in right now? Who right now? I think Cincinnati's your 4th team right now.
Okay, who's your 3rd?
I'm trying to think. We got Georgia for sure.
Georgia and Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, Georgia, Ohio State, Bama, and Cincinnati.
Okay, so you're going to leave out a 1-loss, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying you're going to leave out a 1-loss Notre Dame over a 2-loss Alabama.
Today. If Alabama loses that second game as we expect.
Well, if Alabama wins, against Georgia, we know that they're in,
Yep.
and Georgia's in. So then both of them be in, and then that's going to knock out, and Ohio State's going to be in, and then you're going to have now Cincinnati trumps Notre Dame.
Sure.
So you're going to have now. What could happen is you could have a 2-loss champion in the Big 12. What if Oklahoma State and Oklahoma play each other? So, no offense, Baylor, I'm just in this scenario. They, they play. Somebody's got to lose in Bedlam.
Yep.
And then in the Big 12 championship game, the rematch, the other team wins. Then they both have 2 losses. That's not. I don't think that is.
I look at the Big 12 as a non-Power 5, group of 5 conference right now. But I think Cincinnati gets it over them, and I think Alabama would get it over them.
So in your top 4, you'd have Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and Cincinnati.
Today and potentially after that, yes.
Okay, well, it's only like 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, 2 more weeks, yeah.
And you know what? I would.
And let me just say this. Notre Dame, I don't give them the same benefit I give Ohio State as a team that looks better throughout the year. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, it is hard to take – if Cincinnati is one of the 4 best teams in the country and that's their only loss, it is going to be hard to keep Notre Dame out. I understand that.
Yeah, but
– they should have joined the ACC.
Well, yeah, because they'd be ACC champions because the ACC is
bad,
really bad. Mm-hmm. And that's why Notre Dame's – a big reason Notre Dame's record is they beat Stanford. So what? Stanford got boat raced by Cal.
Right.
They beat USC. So what? What's USC, 4 and something? I mean, they may be having a better season than Texas, but who isn't? I can't even. Okay, they beat Wisconsin. Okay, that's their big win. Wisconsin, having a nice year because they're in the Big 12 West. Having a nice year.
And they've won, 6 in a row, I think it is, 7 in a row, something like that.
So, I don't know.
But you know what? We can flesh it out.
Flesh it out.
Yeah, I said flush earlier. Flesh it out. Yeah, I fixed it.
I don't know. When you're talking about some of those teams, you might as well flush it out.
Why not? We can flush it out, too, if we want to. Just flush the toilet. Let's go around and say hello to our friends. Dalton Hughes, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, I'm not great. I didn't sleep last night, so...
Party?
Fun times. No, power went out at my apartment, so woke me up and I couldn't fall back to sleep. So
the power goes out and that woke you up?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. I guess it was just too still.
Huh. It's never happened to me in my life.
Yeah, when the power goes out, I typically sleep through it and then I wake up wondering why the
12 is flashing?
The flat, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Dalton, times.
Dalton, we're sending you a hug here from studio, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was good times. Let's say hi to Anna Rosa Peterson at the News and Social Center. Good morning, Anna Rosa.
Good morning, Dalton. I can come give you a hug because I'm honestly in one of the best moods of my life. I started out my morning waking up a little bit early to make some orange rolls. Hot take, if you've never tried them, they're much better than cinnamon rolls in my opinion. So
hold on,
great start to my morning.
What's an orange roll? Maybe
it's
kind of
it's basically the same thing as a cinnamon roll, but with the orange
icing
you would see like on an orange scone.
Oh,
it's delicious.
You made that this morning?
Yeah.
How long does that take?
Well, it only takes like 15 minutes.
You hit the can. they
you buy it, made it. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Like biscuits.
I was about to give you props for all morning getting the flour and everything together.
Oh, I'm not that organized. I don't plan ahead that well, but I did put them in the oven while I was getting ready, and it was one of the best decisions I could have made. But enough with my morning. I want to get into what's important here. Our topic, what did you learn, love, loathe about the Aggies' 52-3 win over Prairie View? Matt in San Antonio says, learned A&M did what they had to do against an inferior opponent. We didn't see that against Kent State or New Mexico, so even factoring in the opponent, I was impressed. Loved, how could you not love Leon O'Neal's speech? His growth, maturity, and love for the school were on full display. And loathed, I'd prefer to play these games in September, only being conference games in November.
There it is. Anna Rosa Peterson in the hizzy for shizzy. You know what that means?
Have no idea. I'm sure it starts a Snoop Dogg thing.
No, I think that's from 2004.
I don't think I've heard of that.
You've never heard it in the hizzy for shizzy?
No.
Oh, my gosh.
No, we're all just teaching our teaching each other.
If you
things
have
here,
heard
I
that
guess.
term before, and I recognize most of our audience probably has not, but I know there are a select few out there that lived in the hip community. Hit us up on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, A&B at College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank, Good Texas Banking, the website, amb.com, and the BCSI Associates hotline, 979-693-1150. All right, OB, here in the next segment, we've got a lot to get into. We're going to get into our turning point, maybe when the Aggies showed up to the game. We'll get into the turning point and also things that made us say, out there, Overreaction Monday. We'll get into that. But first, Caldwell Country Chevrolet, our good buddy there, Zach Hester, has been doing great work for a long, long time. I drove by it twice this weekend on my way to Round Rock and on my way back. We went through Caldwell, and there you got it. It's right there, not a far drive at all. You know that place. You know what they're known for, customer service, good people, and the best deals out there. Check them out online. CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com is where you can find the car you're looking for. Call them up and also ask them, like, hey, I'm looking for this kind of car. Can you help me? They're going to be there. They're going to help you out. They're going to get you the right vehicle at the right price, and you're going to love every second of it. You're not going to be haggled. You're not going to have some dude following you around like, hey, how about this car and how about that car? Nope, none of that's going to happen. 15 minutes, Brian and Caldwell, short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and start doing business with Zach and the fellows there at Caldwell Country. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21, in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
The Zone Daily Newsletter, emailed to you each morning at 8. Sign up now. TheZone1150.com.
Holiday sparkle starts at Montelongo's Fine Jewelry. The Montelongos want to be your jeweler this holiday season. Let Montelongos help you find a dazzling gift from their incredible selection that's in stock and ready to be wrapped. Decide joy. Decide to give. Decide Montelongos. Bring home a little sparkle with a gift from Montelongos Fine Jewelry that's sure to make your loved one's Christmas shine. Visit their showroom on University Drive, and Merry Christmas from the Montelongo family to yours.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at Walk MS.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV, or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC, and you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone. Listening to The Zone on your smart speaker is easy. If Louie can do it, anyone can do it. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Aggie football, basketball, or baseball on your smart speaker. Step 1, and one time only needed, say Enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say Play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it up and say Enable Zone 1150 skill, and then listen in anytime just by saying Play Zone 1150.
We're gonna come down to that, man. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to say thank you to all the fans, the families, the support, and just these Aggies, man. Like, man, they do so much for us, and I love them. I love them with all my heart, man. So I just want to make sure they know I love them, and I appreciate you turning this young kid who had a lot of aspirations, a lot of ambition to a man. Even if football does not work, I'm going to be a successful young man because of you guys. Y'all helped me grow. Y'all helped me cope with life. And Elko and Jimbo and this organization changed my life. And I'm forever grateful.
How can you not love that kid? I mean, even before that speech and his work ethic, what he means to this program, the way he speaks, what an ambassador. I know he had his issues early on, just a story of growth and just an inspiration all around. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. That kid right there, OB, it's just what it's all about.
You know, I'm wondering if in the very near future, you know how when you walk into with my wife, you walk into a certain store and they have different, like they're different clothes set up by different designers, right? Sure. You can go in the Polo or whatever it is, the Ralph Lauren or whatever his name is, and these different. I wonder if you're going to walk into Aggieland Outfitters and they'll have the Wake 'em Up 9 section, the Weidemeyer section, the whatever section.
They should. They should have that. And you know what? There's 20% off I'll tell you about later. But just trying to work it in. No, he is just he is so awesome.
The Wake Up 9 section would probably do very well right now.
What time does he wake up? Does he start hitting the gym like at 4 a.m.?
Man, I don't know.
I think so. I think I've seen stuff early.
He's like you, though. He's a workout maniac.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not where I need to be, and I'm about to get super focused, and we were having a conversation about getting focused.
Tunnel vision.
Hey, I told you, and I guarantee our listeners have heard of David Goggins. Just watch him on Instagram, listen to him on podcasts with Rogan or whomever. He will get your mind right for whatever you want to do in discipline. Just listen to the Goggins, OB. I'm telling you, he's going to change it.
Okay, Goggins.
David Goggins, yeah. Everybody out there knows it. And also, Anna Rosa Peterson, do me a favor and read the text message there on the A&B text line from our friend Trent.
I'd be happy to. He said, I have heard that line before. Who hasn't? Come on, my Aggie people. In the hizzy for shizzy. And he's fighting Texas Aggie class of 2013. This is Trent White.
And as Water Turkey says, in the house. In the hizzy for shizzy. I'm in the house.
Okay.
Sorry. Let's move on. I felt a little awkward there. Let's go through the turning point of the game there, OB, if you don't mind. Look, we'll make it quick.
Coin toss.
Coin toss. I'm just going to say, even though they were up 14-0, to me the turning point where you could turn the page and say, all right, this is where the second team started playing more often. The Antonio Johnson hit.
Yeah, that was probably the most spectacular play of the game because it occurred while, the game was, even though we knew what the outcome was going to be, it was still up in the air, so to speak. I would say, though, to me, it was the second and third place of the game, which were both sacks.
Bam.
Bam, bam. You say, okay, this is how it's going to be
over
today. But that poor guy, Juwan Pass, he never saw Antonio Johnson coming. And when he got hit, you follow Aaron Hansford with the ball, and the camera does, so you don't see it much. But it looked like, if for just that brief moment, if you focus on the quarterback, it looks like he doesn't even know where he is on the ground. It was hit so hard. I mean, that was as big a hit as you'll ever see. Now, I'd like to see him do that against LSU.
How many passing yards did Prairie View have?
I don't know.
I'll tell you, 7.
7?
Yep. Trayvon Conley, 1 of 7 for 5 yards. Juwan Pass, 1 of 3 for 2 yards. And Chris Scott, 0 for 2. 7 yards, 2 of 12 passing. Not a great performance from the passing game. But you got to give props to the young man, Jaden Stewart, who rushed for 100 yards, regardless of who was out there. He even tweeted about rushing for 100 on an SEC opponent.
And you know what? Coach Dooley, he did what he had to do. He took his guy out, his starting quarterback out after the first quarter. He's been sacked 4 times. He got his teeth rattled on that one and said, we need to be able to win our big game next week against, I think they're playing Mississippi Valley State, because they can win the SWAC West Division.
Sure can.
So, smart guy to say, I'm not going to keep my starting quarterback out there to be assaulted.
I totally get what Dooley said, because from an SEC perspective and a SWAC perspective, having this game in November makes no sense for them. Mm-hmm. You know, for them, it's like, let's have this game early because we have something to play for still. And if we get hurt trying to win a Super Bowl match we have no chance to win, we have no chance to win the SWAC. If you're an SEC school, you're like, well, we need a break. We need a break from all this fighting against SEC teams.
Yeah, I guess the only good thing, in my opinion, for Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC is that you'll probably go to 9 games and you don't have that game late in the year. That said, I'm sure Prairie View would have said, hey, November, October, September, as long as we get the 7-figure check, we'll show up.
The university, but yeah, the football team sometimes has different thoughts.
But that's why you can have scholarships at places like Prairie View, because you go and become the sacrificial lamb for a week and get a big payday.
Hey, what did you tell me Aggie Land Outfitters should do?
I think they should just start having their sections like the main stores do for the designers, for the different Aggies.
For the superstars out there, right?
That are, marketing their stuff in NIL.
So if they had like a Wake 'em Up section and you could get a Wake 'em Up shirt.
All the Wake 'em Up. And maybe they already do. 'Cause I haven't been in there, I have to admit. But, if you want to, maybe you're excited after what you just saw from Leon O'Neal's speech. By gosh, I want to go buy some Leon O'Neal gear. I go straight to Aggie Land Outfitters. I find the Wake 'em Up 9 section, and
Well, how about I give you this opportunity?
Right,
I told you about 20% off. You have to type in TexAgs 21 on the online code. If you do that, you're going to get 20% off your entire purchase. All right, don't tell other people. You're fine. Tell people. Just make sure they listen to the show. If you are a TexAgs listener, you're going to get 20% off, and I don't know when this is going away, right? It could be today. Fadi might be listening right now and said, darn it, David, you keep talking about it. Stop. I keep giving stuff away for 20% off. Well, that's what happens when you give me the code. TexAgs 21, valid today, and not only today. It could be gone tomorrow. Jump on it. We've got Black Friday coming up. We've got Christmas coming up. So whatever you're trying to spend money on, do it like right now before it goes away. It may be around for 3 days. It may be around for 3 weeks. Jump on it. They've got everything you want from an Aggie perspective. Jump on it. Wake them up. Whatever it takes. Go visit Aggie Land Outfitters online and type in the code TexAgs21.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. All decked out in fall-themed decorations, the Gardens at Texas A&M welcomes visitors to its fall festival throughout the month of November. Follow the Gardens on social media for more information. Every Saturday, the Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting ornament decorating parties from 1 to 4 p.m. Visit their website for more information. The 26th Annual Food for Families Food Drive is Wednesday, December 1st from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Brazos Center. All proceeds benefit the Brazos Valley Food Bank. A presentation for seniors about food as medicine is Wednesday, December 1st. Contact Mature Well Lifestyle Center for more information. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. Always be in the know. Events, guests, contests, and more. Sign up for the Zone newsletter, and then Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., we'll send you an email, and you'll be the first to know. Sign up at zone1150.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Former Packers defensive back Leroy Butler joins us. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers, from where you're sitting, what does it look like his future? Where do you think all that is right now?
Well, the future's Jordan Love. This is an isolated year. They're going to try to go all in to win the Super Bowl. But the future has to be number 10. I mean, it really is. And I think next year they'll try to get Aaron Rodgers in there. They'll sit down. Where do you want to go? And they'll try to trade him and see if it works out. I think this is the 1 year they have to move on and say, when do we think about the future? We don't want to be like the Saints. We don't want to be like the Washington football team. We don't want to be like some of these other franchises that don't have a quarterback. We don't want to be like that. We want to be good now and in the future. And I think Jordan Love clock starts next year.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Very proud of our guys. I thought we rebounded during the week and practiced very well. Come out and played very well in the game. Prairie View, again, Coach Dooley do a great job. Got a very good team. A lot of different blitzes and things on defense. They cause you some problems. But our guys went out and played well, did what we were supposed to do, how we were supposed to do it, offense, defense, special teams, scored every time we had it on offense.
Jimbo breaking down the game against PV. Up ahead is LSU. We're going to talk about that throughout the week as we still kind of sprinkle in some thoughts from what we saw this past weekend. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, they are the official insurance provider of TexAgs Radio. The difference is real. Rollo Insurance, an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. Rollo can write any form of insurance to anyone in Texas and several other states. And they have 30 offices right here in the great state of Texas. Headquarters, Highway 6, right here in College Station. Call 888-44-ROLLO or go to rolloinsurance.com. All right, let's go to the News and Social Center because Anna Rosa Peterson's got a text message on the A&B text line for us.
Yes, I have an anonymous texter asking, which is a better job, LSU or Florida?
All right, I'm going to give a stab at this to start off. I think right now, Florida is a better job. And the reason I say that is I believe that there is more competition in the SEC West, right? With Alabama being a superior team, with A&M on the rise the way they are and where we think they're going to be. If Lane stays at Ole Miss, that's another thing to consider. I think right now, yes, you have Georgia in the East, but I think Florida could absolutely be number 2 quicker than LSU surpassing A&M.
Well, I certainly understand why some people would say LSU because it's the only, big name, big time university in the school playing football. Whereas in Florida, you got Florida State and Miami.
Yep.
I think I would still go with Florida, and I'll tell you why. The population in Florida is Florida's the third largest, most populated state in the country.
Right.
And Louisiana is about as roughly the same population as Houston. So Florida has about 5 times the population that Louisiana does. So you figure they've had 5 times as many big-time football players as Louisiana does.
Right.
Well, if LSU you would think they're going to get all of their guys, which they don't, because Alabama's come in and gets guys, and A&M gets guys, and other gets it. But I'll put it this way: I think that you can recruit more big-time players in your home state if you're at Florida than you can at Louisiana.
Do you think LSU is going to be in a position where none of these home run hires that they want are available and they have to settle on the offensive coordinator from Alabama, Bill O'Brien?
I got to know Scott Woodward a little bit, not like Liucci, but I got to know him a little bit, and I think he's a smart guy, and I think he's too smart for that. So I do not think that they will hire Bill O'Brien. I mean, it's fun to joke about, but Scott is not a dumb guy, and he knows the situation. I think he knows that his LSU population would be up in arms over Bill O'Brien.
But could you sell it? Look at the numbers Bryce Young is having this year. Yes, he's had a couple of boneheaded calls inside the red zone, but even on a game, Bryce Young was perfect the other night.
Yeah, well, I could answer that. We could do point counterpoint, and I'd say, yeah, look at the numbers that Alabama's offense was putting up last year, and look what that offensive coordinator that was supposed to be a genius is doing this year.
Exactly. And then the follow-up could be, look at what Bill O'Brien did with the Texans before he became the general manager. They won more division titles, and they made the playoffs. He's their winningest coach. And look what he did at Penn State in the 2 years he did there.
Yeah, I wouldn't even take the NFL.
I'm trying to talk LSU into it, OB. I'm trying. I want that to happen because I think it would be phenomenal for A&M.
I agree. I think if you're A&M, you could send a list of coaches that you would like LSU to hire, and I think Bill O'Brien would be definitely on that list, if not at the top of it. I just don't see it. I think that they're going to hire definitely somebody. Maybe who do you want? If Lincoln Riley's no longer available, they're probably going to end up with Napier.
Napier's going to end up at Florida or LSU, I think. I think LSU makes the most sense. And then does Lane stay at Ole Miss, or does he go to Florida, or does he go to Miami?
See, well, you know what my thoughts on that. But if I had the choice between Florida and Miami, I might go Florida.
See, I might go Miami.
I might go with the big state school instead of the private school.
I might go Miami just because I think it makes too much sense. Lane's personality.
Oh, I agree with that.
And I think the ACC is easier to maneuver. He likes living by the water. He likes living by there from all accounts when he was at what was it, Florida Atlantic?
Up in Boca.
Boca. I could just see that being a great fit.
I agree.
And I don't think you're going to get the same scrutiny at Miami that you would get at Florida.
Oh, I'm 100% with you that is the marriage that makes the most sense. I wonder if you think, man, everybody knows now that it's not even debatable. The SEC is the premier conference. Yeah. You just said it before. If you're competent as a coach, you're finishing at least no worse than second in the East. And you're probably, I want to be I want to be coaching in the best conference at one of the programs that should be one of the best programs. And look how low the bar is now. And that's amazing that Dan Mullen has failed there.
Yeah, but I think he failed this year in having his. Where did it say that? I guess his issue started with the program during the protests last summer, and that's when there seemed to be a little separation from what they believed in him. And also, he's just not a likable guy.
Well, that's true. Everybody's likable when they're winning. You don't care unless you're Bo Pelini at Nebraska, and then it's okay. We'll win, but still not worth it. But I think that it really started to unravel last year probably about the Missouri game when he shows up.
Well, the shoe game, they've been terrible since then.
Yeah, but the Missouri game came before the shoe game.
Was that the game before?
When he showed up with the Darth Vader costume on. And
it was so great to see Eli Drinkowitz.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Do the Jedi.
And they just started playing poorly.
Yeah.
And then, you pick up this year after the way you finished last year, and it's worse. There are certain things you just can't do. And I think Florida's very fortunate they're not playing Vanderbilt late.
Yeah.
And if they lose to Florida State, which is not good, but I think both teams may be playing for bowl eligibility.
I think they both are. Yeah. I think they are.
And I think I'd take Florida State now.
Hey, so my brother Alex, you've heard him on the show before. He's come in and helped out on the fan show. He's on his way to College Station right now as we speak. I don't know if he's listening yet, but he's got a son, Mason, who's a junior in high school, who I'm trying to put the full court press, to get him to go to A&M. They're going to visit the campus. Because I think, when you grow up with a bunch of Aggies, sometimes there's a feeling like maybe you want to go elsewhere because your whole family, my sister-in-law went there, I went there, Alex went there. I think you're kind of dealing with it at home as well.
I am.
So they're going to come visit the campus today, and I am going to try to put the full court. Not only do I want Mason to go to school here, I want the whole family to relocate here. But regardless, you're kind of dealing with that same situation. Really the best institution around, man.
One day we didn't have Gwen with us. And, you look at the athletic stuff and you're amazed. We went into the engineering, the new engineering buildings. We have a friend that works in there and was showing us around. And course, to me, because I never went to college, I'm like, oh, this is nice. But my wife, who went to Cal Berkeley, was saying, this is incredible. The study spaces and just the whole layout and everything's so modern, and you've got everything you need, special chairs to lounge in while you study. It's just incredible what A&M has to offer academically.
Also, my middle daughter, Annalise, they do Broadway plays here too. They come and they bring them.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, and he's into acting, so we're going to put the full court press and show him around, and it's such a different university.
You want me to talk to him, being as though, been in the business.
You can do it. You are an actor. Why don't you remind the people what your big headline movie was?
No, we can move on.
Just tell the people.
Varsity Blues, okay.
And you had a speaking role.
I did, but only because I sound like a country bumpkin.
No, because you are a legit journalist out there, OB. Give yourself some props.
Anyway, but that's not why they put me in there, because I was a journalist.
Why did they put you in there?
Because they liked the way I sounded.
Well,
but anyway, I didn't mean that. I was just trying to be funny, and you.
I turned it to a real thing.
Let's don't.
Let's
get back to where you were going with Mason.
Bottom line, Mason, come to Texas A&M if you're listening. If not, don't worry.
You'll never regret it.
You'll never regret it. Just check out and walk around with your uncle. You'll see how cool it is. Speaking of which, let's talk about Heritage Film.
Shizzle.
For hizzy for shizzy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to use that in a sentence.
It'll be hizzy for shizzy.
In the house.
In the house.
There you go. That is OB. Let's talk about Chance right after it, and he's going to come and videotape my dad. Videotape. They don't use that term anymore. We're going to shoot an interview with him, right? Netflix style, A&E style. My pops is going to be able to talk about his time in Cuba, fleeing that country here and making it to the States and having to work his way through being a dishwasher to one of the top civil engineers in all of Houston, just dominating life. That guy has done it right the whole way, and we're going to get that story on film from fleeing Cuba to what he's done here. And we're going to do it with Chance, because Chance tells stories, and he can do it first-class style, A&E, documentary, Netflix style, brings the lights, brings the camera crew, takes about 2 months to get the job done, and he's going to tell your story. No more game of telephone. My dad told me this, I told my kids this, blah, blah, blah. No, let's have it actually on tape, as they say, and Chance is the guy to do that. Check out yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
It's ESPN Radio. ESPN. Weeknights and weekends here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Holiday sparkle starts at Montelongo's Fine Jewelry. The Montelongo's Fine Jewelry family has been helping people select the perfect gift for over 30 years, and they want to be your jeweler this holiday season. Let Montelongo's help you find a dazzling gift from their incredible selection that's in stock and ready to be wrapped. Decide joy. Decide to give. Decide Montelongo's. Bring home a little sparkle with a gift from Montelongo's Fine Jewelry that's sure to make your loved one's Christmas shine. Visit their showroom on University Drive and Merry Christmas from the Montelongo family to yours.
Howdy, this is Steve Bledsoe, fighting TexAgs class of '83, with some exciting news. VeriBank is now open with our new full-service location on Highway 6 in College Station. With personal bankers, business bankers, VeriBank has everything you need in one convenient location. Come see for yourself, where genuine banking is waiting for you, and you can bank on it.
Visit VeraBank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. VeraBank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The end of the tax year is near, so if you need maintenance or replacement parts for your construction equipment, WPI has you covered. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting for every brand of equipment is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food From responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us, our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with comedian George Wallace about keeping a notepad beside his bed in case he has an idea about a joke.
But I did that at 3 o'clock in the morning, the top 5 exes in the world. That happens all the time. You wake up, sometimes you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you write a joke down and you look at it the next day, and you can't read it. You go, what the hell is this?
Sports Talk will leave you laughing. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Welcome back, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Somebody texted in, don't play that song, whatever we played, that last segment. I don't remember what it was, but just for that, we're going to repeat it the next segment.
I don't know what song.
It was like Sweet Home Alabama or something
Sweet Home
like
Alabama.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
but that's from your playlist, right?
I like that song.
I mean, that's a classic.
I guess because the state of Alabama.
I guess what we should do if we're going to play Sweet Home Alabama, the thing that would be smart was the next time you play, if you're going to play in Texas, you got to have a fiddle in the band, like the Jimbo commercial starts with Sweet Home Alabama and then goes to that song.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's go back to the News and Social Center. Anna Rosa Peterson, you've got some stuff to read to us for us to break down.
I do. So Nick in College Station says, I think Dave Aranda, Baylor's coach, will go back to LSU as head coach. That's a possibility he throws out there.
I can see that. Yeah. And that probably makes the most sense. But what I was trying to tell you earlier, I look at LSU, I look at Texas. There's certain schools that USC that I don't know if you go for a guy that, I guess there's not a lot of options, I should say. Let me say that from the beginning. There are not a lot of people out there. They're not going to swing, I don't think, and get a guy like Jimbo the way A&M did, because who knows who's out there that's unhappy at their job, high-profile coach that you can go get. So now you're going to be getting guys who are taking a step up and taking a step into the SEC, a coordinator who's now leading Baylor and doing a very nice job there. But I don't know if he's got the resume, if you will, to lead LSU for where they are. But he's done a great job.
If I was Scott Woodward, I'd be calling Brian Kelly at Notre Dame.
Yeah. But see, that's a home run hire.
And Brian Kelly in the past is rumored to be frustrated at Notre Dame because of the recruiting limitations with their entry requirements. Mm-hmm. And I think the recruiting I suspect the recruiting requirements. Mm-hmm. I suspect the recruiting requirements at LSU are not quite as stringent.
No, but I still think his path to a playoff is easier at Notre Dame than it is at LSU.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But ultimately, you want to, the goal is to win it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you get to the playoff too many times and don't win, you become a joke. Kind of like Oklahoma is. And who's going to beat them bad in the playoffs? So, and I think Notre Dame's probably there. So you're gonna have to beat Alabama or somebody like that, A&M, Georgia. You're gonna have to beat Florida, that team anyway. To get there, you might as well just try to do it in October instead of January.
Yeah, I was reading this article when I was talking about Dan Mullen getting fired and how Jimbo, I believe now is third or fourth most tenured coach in the SEC, something to that effect. And it just shows how quickly. I mean, Edo, who deserved to be fired, is a couple years removed from a national championship. The pressure, the stress, the scrutiny of an SEC job is huge. And if you're Brian Kelly, while I may agree with you, LSU might be a better opportunity for him, and if he needs to change his scenery, you are guaranteed to go 10-1 or whatever, 11-1 every year. Not guaranteed, but it's an easier path. You get the respect for the most part. They may find their way back into the playoff this year. There's a chance they could get in.
Yeah, they need Cincinnati to lose, which could happen against UH. And then they'd probably need a whole lot of other teams to lose too. Alabama, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not a whole lot. Somebody in the Big 12, even though they'd probably get picked over somebody from the Big 12. And then they would play Georgia and get throttled.
Get destroyed. But they would get throttled at LSU too, right?
So the answer to that is, yeah, he gets in and it's an easier path, but what could he do when he's able to recruit better? And I'll say this, you can like Brian Kelly or not, but his teams are going to play tough and physical.
Let me read this one real quick from Steve in College Station. Is Urban happy at Jacksonville, ready to return to college coaching? I think Urban's become a joke, and I think Jacksonville would like to remove themselves of the possibility. I don't want to see him in the SEC at Texas or at LSU. I don't want to see that because I think he is a good college coach.
He's a good coach, very good college coach. I think the Jaguars are actually starting to play
a little better.
And he's got Trevor Lawrence to build with. He's not going anywhere.
And it just shows you that you can come back from your lowest point in that same season. I mean, think about it. The whole thing that happened in Columbus a couple of weeks back, and now people aren't even talking about that, except for me. OB, thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right, hour number 2 coming up. Billy Liucci will be in studio. We will break down the Prairie View game and get ready for the LSU game. In the 10 o'clock hour, Tom Hart of the SEC Network and Peter Burns of the SEC Network, all going to be joining us here to break down that final hour of the program. A lot of you guys are off of work today. Thank you for listening and watching on our YouTube channel on TexAgs.com and on The Zone. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your student started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kingsgate Christian School, Sunshine School, Kinder Music, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
Download podcast of your favorite shows, Louie, Chip, or TexAgs in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. Subscribe and have them downloaded daily for you in the Pod Center at zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Texas A&M police is investigating a weekend robbery and stabbing. According to a UPD news release, this happened on West Campus Friday night around 9 in Research Park. The victim told officers an unknown suspect came up from behind and knocked his phone out of his hands. That led to a fight where the victim was stabbed in his right thigh. The suspect fled without taking anything. The victim went to a local hospital for treatment of what UPD described as a non-life-threatening injury. Anyone with information is asked to contact UPD. A four-vehicle crash Friday night near Jones Crossing in College Station led to an arrest on an enhanced DWI charge. According to College Station police arrest reports, victims told officers the driver that started the chain reaction collisions on Wellburn Road near Balcones sat in his car laughing before he got out and left the scene. After the driver was found in a field with the assistance of one of the victims, breath alcohol samples measured almost 3 times the legal limit. 32-year-old Osvaldo Hernandez of College Station is out of jail after posting bonds. The College Station City Council is meeting tonight to discuss impact fees. During his appearance on WTAW, Councilman John Crompton says roads are the challenge. He says what the city can generate with bond issues is not enough.
For the last 25 years at least, from about 1995 onwards, this city has every 5 or 6 years approved 40, 50, 60 million in bonds for roads. So you work it out, 8 to 10 million a year. We've been putting at roads now regularly for 25 years. That's business as usual. And what have we got? We got congestion.
Crompton says people who are against impact fees are either for congestion or they're for regressive property taxes. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 p.m. at City Hall. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
C&J Barbecue, Aggieland Express Car Wash, Mineral Body Works, awards, and more and more. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
You can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country. And Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on The Zone. Polaris Fun Center, where you can get a $500 rebate on any 450 or 570 Model A TV. Or $2,000 cash back on a Polaris XP1000. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays from 2 to 4 on The Zone.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Number 16, Texas A&M football had no problem with Prairie View A&M on Saturday, rolling past the Panthers 52-3. It was senior day at Kyle Field and an emotional one for safety Leon O'Neal.
I didn't want to leave. I wanted to say thank you to all the fans, the families, the support, and just these Aggies, man. They do so much for us, and I love them. I love them with all my heart, man. So I just want to make sure they know I love them.
Leon and the guys now sit at 8-3 on the year following the win. Now for more on Aggie football, tune into the Liucci Hour tonight from 6 to 7 right here on The Zone. Time for a sneak peek at the SEC, brought to you by T-Mobile. Georgia remains number 1 in this week's AP poll, with Alabama coming in at 3, Ole Miss at 8, Texas A&M at 14, and Arkansas at 25. And that's been your SEC sneak peek, brought to you by T-Mobile, the official 5G sponsor of the SEC. Aggie volleyball came up short to LSU yesterday, falling to the Lady Tigers 3-2. And men's basketball is in Vegas this afternoon, taking on Wisconsin. Tip-off is at 1 o'clock on 1620, 94.5 WTAW. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Aggie football game day on The Zone starts 3 hours before kickoff with the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com. Game day on The Zone is brought to you in part by Higginbotham Insurance, Stephen Gustitis, attorney at law, Tradition, Mobile One Oil and Lube, and Gage Gandy Bail Bonds. After you listen to the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com, listen to every single Aggie football game right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
It is TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Having a good old time. You guys on TexAgs.com/live, I don't know, I need a better name for that, are over here giving me a hard time. I see what you guys are saying. Talking about earlier when I was saying why I think Florida is a better gig than LSU. Look, LSU, the last 3 coaches, we know the story there. The last 3 coaches have won a national championship. I think the reason I would take the Florida job over the LSU job today is because of what A&M is doing right now and what I expect Alabama to continue to do and just how crowded that SEC West is. That's, to me, the main reason. Yes, do I think Florida's a better state to live in than Louisiana? Absolutely. But the main reason is where you are right now. Everything is, when people talk about what is a better program, you can say, because remember for a while people were saying that why would Jimbo leave Florida State for A&M? It's a better program. The program to me is all about where you are right now, right? Like, and what Jimbo is creating, and yes, what is in the pipeline. There's no doubt about that. But where you are right now, to me, Florida is closer than LSU is because of the people around them. That's the main reason. So that's why I picked that. If you want to call the show, you can on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. It looks like we've got Billy Liucci there on the BCSI hotline. Billy, good morning to you, sir. And we lost him. Good times. We'll try to get Billy here in a moment. While we're waiting for Billy, I never got to answer our question, which was, what did you love, learn, and loathe here on our question of the day? I'm trying to do 9 things at the same time, so I apologize about that, guys. And I'm going to give you a couple of my answers as we wait for Billy to join the show. And what did I learn? I learned that the future is bright. I think we knew that the future was going to be bright, but I certainly got that without a doubt. What you saw what Moose did. I talked about Keith Brown earlier on that reverse play, his speed. All that, to me, are things that the future is bright. What about the backfield, right? Rushing for 130 yards. You had 70 from Amari Daniels, 60 from L.J. Johnson. All those reasons, to me, are why the future is, to me, bright because of what we have there. Remember, there's still some question marks of who's going to go pro and who's not going to go pro and who's going to stick around. But knowing that you've got those guys in the backfield, to me, as Isaiah is going to enter the NFL draft more than likely and probably be a first or second round pick, all those reasons alone are to have LJ back there, to have Amari Daniels back there, to me is huge. I love seeing what they were able to do and excited about that. Now let's go back to the BCSI hotline and not sabotage the show. Billy Liucci with us, the executive editor, co-owner. Good morning, Billy.
What's up, David?
So usually,
how are you, brother?
Good, man. So usually when you join the show, I'm on the loathe part, and I'm on the love part, man, or learn and love part. So all good news coming out of this PV game.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of lows, right? I guess my only lows was, Chapman got hurt again, and Nias left that game. Didn't look serious. And I think that looked, but still, to leave the game, you play in LSU and 5 days, so just the continued Chase Lane on the scooter before the game. So Dean is out for the year, for the final 2 games anyway. That's the kind of attrition at a position you hate to see. So that was the only part of the game where I came away going, everything else was a feel good afternoon at Kyle. I thought it was awesome. There's such a special group of seniors. It just feels weird though. 11 a.m. Prairie View, these senior days, because it used to be, it was either a Big 12 game, and then even in the SEC, every other year, your final home game is usually, or every other year it's LSU, and then there are some times where even sometimes you catch a conference game and not that November bye game, but it is what it is. This is a special group of seniors. I feel like there's more. I wrote that there's more unfinished business for these guys. I felt like it was like, hey, it's their day because it's their last time to play on Kyle Field, and that means a lot to so many of those guys that have played on that grass so many times. And by the way, really, I'll talk about this in a second, but we're going to see all these guys in Death Valley, and hopefully most of them in a significant bowl game. So I didn't feel like it was as emotional for the fans and us as it was for the kids. It's their last game at Kyle Field. The dreams came true on that field. And here's what they did, and this is one thing I didn't write about or say yet. They went out and took back Kyle Field. You think about the older guys, the guys like Michael Clemens and Aaron Hansford, Tyree Johnson, Leon O'Neal, some of the oldest guys on the roster, the 4th year and even 5th and 6th year guys. When they got to A&M, the Aggies weren't winning a lot of meaningful games at Kyle Field. Hence the stupid, ridiculous Herb Street video. He's completely jumped the shark in the last couple of years. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I agree. I don't always agree that there's there's an anti-A&M deal. I do think Herbie's jumped the shark when it comes to A&M here in the last couple of years. But that video was the truth in it hurt, but they didn't understand the why. The truth was A&M hadn't won many or any truly meaningful games at Kyle Field. Well, the reason why is because the teams weren't that good. That was a simple answer to that. Like, how many big games is USC winning at the Coliseum these days? How many big games is Tennessee winning in Knoxville? All the programs win a lot less lately than A&M even has. But look, this group took back Kyle Field. So that was a special day for them yesterday. You think over the last 4 years since Jimbo arrived, and they've beaten a Kentucky team that was in the top 15. They've beaten a top 15, number 11 ranked Auburn. They beat, obviously, they've beaten LSU at home twice, which is very significant. And they beat number 1 Alabama in one of the greatest wins of all time, and took the national champs down to basically a 2-point conversion in the final minute in Clemson. So this has been a hell of a run for these 4th and 5th year guys at Kyle Field, and they've watched it really. We always say come full circle, but that's not what we're saying here. They've watched it do a total 180, and they've watched Kyle Field return as one of the meccas of college football. And by the way, one of the most intimidating places to play in college football. Most of those guys, I just said, are on defense. PV's another one. Most of those guys are on defense, and they've been a huge part of not only bringing back Kyle Field, but bringing back wrecking crew football to Texas A&M. And that's their legacy, in my opinion. That's their legacy. And Jalen and I talked about this yesterday, Wademeyer. Some of these other guys, another part of their legacy that's yet to be written is, could these guys that are going out, the ones that end up leaving, whether it's the seniors or any juniors, do they go out after top 5, top 10 finish in a 10-win season and essentially 2 10-win seasons in a row, what would be akin to 2 10-win seasons, and 2 New Year's Day bowl games in a row? Like, that part of their legacy, again, I always say, like, if A&M wins a national title, that core group, and really we're talking about these super senior guys and that 2019 class, whether they stay or go, the names, all those guys that are going to have stay or go decisions out of the juniors. That group and these outgoing seniors, if A&M wins a title under Jimbo Fisher, they laid the foundation. People, and guys from last year too, like Kellen Mond and the Maroon Goons, if they win a national title, Buddy Johnson, all those guys will have had a huge hand in it, because the foundation, you pour it and it's set and it took hold last year. And if they finish this year off right, I'd say this year as well.
Billy, I want to get your perspective on something, because I find it interesting on how you can't look at a previous week or previous matchup score and be able to feel out how a game is going to go. And what I mean by that is Vandy played Ole Miss, I guess kind of tight if you look at the score. LSU and Louisiana Monroe, not necessarily tight, but tighter than you would expect that game to go. I think it was in hand, and Monroe was able to put up some yardage. But that being said, we saw a really good Ole Miss team with the whole world watching that game and how they responded, and then obviously not playing great against Vandy. And I guess the same thing with LSU coming up this weekend. Just because certain teams have played them tight doesn't necessarily mean that A&M's going to be able to walk away with this one, even if LSU's missing some big key guys.
Oh, I think you said one thing and answered with the other right there, didn't you? Because you said just because teams have played them tight doesn't mean A&M's going to get out of there. It's actually that's exactly why you don't expect them to.
Right.
Is because those teams, LSU is going to play like they've been playing. Louisiana Monroe, that was an ugly game. I watched a lot of it actually, because that Utah-Oregon was such a blowout. That was an ugly game, and on all fronts. Like, the LSU offense looked terrible in that one. And that's what the defense is going to have to continue for the Ags, is to make that offense look like that. They've got serious issues up front on the O-line and in the running game. And the only exception to that kind of came in that Florida game before we knew how bad Florida was. But you've got to make them struggle offensively. You've got to put, that, because that's where they're weak and where you're strong is defense. So you've got to keep LSU from scoring very many points, because I do think, look, that LSU defense held Alabama to 6 rushing yards. 6. Gabe Bach could run for, let's say he ran for none. Actually, he'd be so far into the negatives. Let me give a better example. 6 yards. That's what Alabama ran for. Arkansas gained less than 300 against LSU. So those are the last couple of games against real opponents. We've watched both of those offenses. Robinson ran for 150 or so against A&M. Arkansas, I don't know how many yards they gained on the Aggies. It was certainly probably somewhere between somewhere around 450 yards, if I had to guess. Definitely over 4 with the way they started that game. And LSU shut both of those offenses down. And they held Arkansas to 16, and I think they held Bama to, was it 21? And I think it was, might have been 21.
20 to 14 was the final.
20 to 14. So, I mean, both of those games, the LSU defense was actually, if there was an A&M defense and I was sitting there when we're breaking that down, we'd call both those efforts absolutely exceptional. So they've been playing great on defense, and that didn't change against. That did not change against ULM. They were exceptional again on defense. ULM missed a couple of chances, but I'd throw that game out. Okay, so you've got a team that's not very good on offense, but has gotten to be really good on defense. So what do you have? The Aggies are going to have to just lock it down defensively, shut down that running game, put all kinds of heat on Max Johnson, and then they're going to have to, just hang in there with the running game. I think that one, not to say it's going to be sitting at 3-3, but you better go in there prepared to play a game very similar to Auburn. Now, I think LSU is a lot worse on the O-line, believe it or not, than Auburn was. And I think that's where you can really maybe take control of that football game. But the Aggie offense is going to have to be really take advantage of opportunities and limit mistakes. And, yeah, it'd be nice to see them get out there and score points early. But it's going to be interesting with injuries at receiver. But everything we just said, David, what do they have to lean on? 28, 6, 0, 85, and then all those big names and all those studs on defense. Kenyon Green on the O-line. So all the veterans, Clemens, Tyree Johnson, Leal, Peavy, Hansford, all those veteran guys, Leon and Damani. It's defense, running the ball, and a couple of guys stepping up at receiver to make plays, because that's going to be the difference in, it's a monster difference between 9-3 and going to a New Year's Day Bowl and 8-4 and 2 losses to end the season. We talked about it. LSU, Bama, and Auburn in the same year. LSU 3 out of 4. LSU in Baton Rouge. Potential for a 10-win season without your starting quarterback. All these things are really significant and on the table for the Ags. And I think one thing we haven't talked about, David, is, have you thought at all about the New Year's Six potential, and if it's still there?
I thought about it, but I felt that too many things still have to happen for that. And do you want to hold that for the next segment? You kind of list out a scenario where it could happen?
I'd like to talk about that. Yeah, because I've seen some of these talking about it, and they seem to think Ole Miss losing to Mississippi State and A&M winning at LSU would not result in movement of either team more than 2 spots in the polls, and I absolutely don't believe that. So that, tomorrow night will actually be really interesting to see how far apart Ole Miss and A&M are. We'll talk about that in a second.
All right, Billy Liucci going to be on hold here. We'll get him back here on the program. He's on the BCSI hotline right now, though. I want to talk about the Association of Former Students, such a great group who's done amazing work here for the university and all of our network out there. They just give, and none of that is possible without you. But they're the oldest organization serving the A&M network for over 140 years. We're talking about those financial gifts from the Aggie Network have empowered the association to be here, there, and everywhere. And they just give. For a long time, I out of school, I was Century Club member, and then somehow I lost touch, and I forgot about it, and then my address changed, phone number changed, and they didn't find me. I didn't think of it, and I got to do that. Moved back to town, and of course, reminded about it. I drive by the building all the time, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing, right? And I'm back in, and it's because it's not expensive, and it goes such a long, long way. To become a Century Club member, $100 a year, $9 a month. You get that decal, the plaque, the Texas Aggie magazine, plus you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies out there. To learn more about the impact of the association, get involved, or make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
Your home for Texas A&M women's basketball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
This Christmas, hope marches on. The Salvation Army, in partnership with Bryan Broadcasting, present Angel Tree. You can support a local child in need by adopting an angel from the angel trees located in the Post Oak Mall food court. All Blue Baker restaurants are online at salvationarmybcs.org. Select your angel, shop for their gifts, and return them with the angel tag attached by December 13th. Through your support, hope marches on. For more information or to volunteer, visit salvationarmybcs.org. The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect, in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
I'm going to tell you what doesn't surprise me. I watch them every day. I'm telling you, these guys are good players, man. They do a really good. They're natural runners with the ball. They really are. They're natural and they get great. They run with great pad level.
All right, Jimbo Fisher there talking about the running backs, Amari Daniels and LJ Johnson. We will break that down here with Billy in a moment. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And I want to remind you, all guests and callers join us on the BCSI hotline. If you call 979-701-2020, mention TexAgs, you're going to get yourself a free LASIK consult and $400 off of your custom LASIK surgery, so you don't have to drive to Houston, Dallas, Austin to get a world-class experience LASIK eye surgery. You can do that with Dr. K and his wonderful team there at BCSI. They are doing big-time stuff with that. All right, let's go back to the BCSI hotline. Billy Liucci with us. Billy, when we last spoke, we're talking about some scenarios out there for A&M to get into a New Year's Six bowl. And let me see if I can spitball this. Bama basically has to win the SEC title, right? And then Mississippi State needs to beat Ole Miss, and maybe not significantly, but a 2-score game could maybe change, or does it not matter?
No. Let's drop that.
Okay.
Let's drop that part, because that's what I think people are jumping on maybe a little too much. It's like they're thinking this head-to-head, and that the voters are going to really carefully worry about the 11th, 12th, 13th team to where, there's going to be several rankings 1 to 25 where a team below beat a team ahead. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. We already seen it before last week where it really mattered up near the top. Look, they're 4 spots apart in the AP or coaches, whatever it is. Now, if that's a 6-spot difference come Tuesday night, we're having a different conversation. If that's a 4-spot difference or 3, there's a limit there where Ole Miss won't fall that much, losing to a respected Mississippi State team. But if that's a 4-spot deal, Texas A&M is going to move up and Ole Miss is going to move down. And it's just the way it's going to be. Now, the Bama part is what's interesting. The Bama part, if that happens, there's got to be an SEC team in the Sugar Bowl. That'll be either Ole Miss or 9-3 A&M. Again, that depends on what we just talked about. If Ole Miss goes to the Sugar, then you wonder if the SEC couldn't even get 4 in as you go on down the road. So they're not just battling with Texas A&M. Okay, I mean, they're not just battling with Ole Miss. In a way, the Alabama Florida thing, Alabama Georgia thing gets interesting only if A&M's really going to backdoor their way in. But yeah, if they jump Ole Miss, I don't believe that they don't need Bama to beat Georgia. Now there are things like you've got to watch, like a BYU. You might be right there on the cut line to get to a New Year's Six. I just don't imagine the SEC only getting 2 in the New Year's Six. I'm not sure that's ever happened. I might be wrong there, but if you made me bet money as I'm just sitting here talking live, I would say I don't think that's ever happened. So to get 3, A&M would have to rise up to a certain spot, and they're kind of right there on the cusp. And remember, David, before these bowl games are decided, you're also going to have some teams lose conference championship games as well. You might move up another spot, if not 2 spots, championship weekend while you sit at home. So just win that game, and it is far, far from impossible that you'd see A&M in a New Year's Six. And to me, honestly, it matters because I'd love to see A&M in the Fiesta Bowl, and that would be really cool. We've never seen that, just like we've never seen the Orange. But if you can get to me, the goal should be for A&M, Capital One and up. Capital One is essentially the next New Year's Six bowl. I mean, first of all, when you look, it's like the first. It's a higher pick than the pool of bowls. All those SEC pool, the 6 bowl games. It stands alone between the New Year's Six and that, and it's the same way for the Big Ten. So it's actually it is one of the marquee bowl games for the Big Ten and the SEC. The Capital One ranks as a marquee bowl game for both leagues. So if you can get in that one, it's Disney World. Is it Disney World or Disneyland? That's Disney World.
Disney World.
It's Orlando. It's New Year's Day. It's Disney World. It'd be a cool one for the players, but I think just you draw a pretty marquee Big Ten name. The game to me would have a complete, absolute New Year's Six feel. So either or. And I think if you beat LSU, I think the lowest you'd fall is the Outback, because that would be one I think Jimbo and Texas A&M would go all over in terms of trying to get to, because they've never been to that one either. I think that's the lowest you'd fall, and I think you'd be a near lock to at least go Capital One. Again, the only way you don't do that, the only way you wouldn't do that is if Ole Miss fell out of the New Year's Six with the loss, and if they fell out of the New Year's Six, and then somehow the SEC only got 2 in, and that was Ole Miss's spot. But I really don't see that happening.
And then what do you say is I hate to use the term worst case scenario, but if they were to lose to LSU, are we still thinking Florida's a possibility?
Knows? Who the hell knows, David?
Yeah.
If they lose that game, I mean, do we care?
You're right.
I mean, we care. We're going to go cover it, and we want to go and watch it and play. I'm not saying, hey, we're off the deal here, but I mean,
it's
you
a
lose
different
to
feel.
Ole Miss and LSU to end the year. It's a completely different feel. And I'm just saying, people aren't going to care whether you're in the, I'd still rather go Outback, because again, it's a New Year's Day bowl. It's that stage, and that stage does matter, in my opinion. It still does. And it's also, I like to see A&M play a Big Ten team in the bowl game. When's the last time? I guess the last time they did that was Sherman last season, when DeRuyter coached the team with Tannehill and the Texas Bowl against Northwestern. So A&M hasn't played a big name team from the Big Ten, correct me if I'm wrong, in regular season or a bowl game since Michigan in 95, Ohio State after they won the Big 12 in 98. You're closing in on 25 years.
Didn't they play Penn State in an Alamo Bowl?
Yeah, was that right after that?
Penn State?
That was right after that.
That would have been like mid-2000s.
That was under Fran. Yeah, under Fran. They played them twice, actually. They played them
99 and
maybe
2007.
In 99. Yeah. So, Penn State, and that's it. It's been a long time. So, again, almost 15 years. You double-dipped Penn State. You drew Penn State when they were at their best, too, with Courtney Brown and LeVar Arrington back in 99, which was just absolutely absurd. They had the number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft that year. That was like SEC defense you were playing against. But, 15 years since you've played a big-name team in the Big Ten, and in 25 years, you've literally played Penn State and no one else. So I think that would be significant. But, again, you lose that game, you can't complain where you go. I mean, you could end up back in Jacksonville for the Gator. I don't know if they would do that. They were there 4 years ago. Then you start factoring in you start factoring in places like Memphis and Nashville and Jacksonville, and maybe it's Tampa, but at that point you're kind of hoping, and you're just kind of lucky if they slot you there because you haven't played there in a while, but forever. Texas Bowl comes into play. I don't think they'll send you back there that quickly. I know A&M would be probably very excited about that. So, man, just win the damn LSU game. Win LSU, and I think your floor is Outback on New Year's Day. Your ceiling is a Fiesta or Peach through the back door, and your likely destination is Orlando on New Year's Day, playing against Iowa, Michigan State, Wisconsin, somebody along those lines.
All right, Billy. Well, when we come back, let's talk a little bit about the youngsters who played against Prairie View and what their future could be here. I'm talking about the running backs. I'm talking about Moose and whatnot. But right now, though, I want to talk about Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart there at Elms Orthodontics. Love what those guys do. Good friends of the show, good friends of TexAgs.com. They're not far away, guys, on the bypass in College Station. And if you're like me, you've got kids at a certain age that it's time to start thinking about braces, or maybe they've been kind of dealing with a crooked smile for a little while. time to call them up, guys. They're so good at what they do. They've been doing it for a long, long time. Dr. Troy Elms, class of 86, mainstay in the community. Over 30 years of great work, 16-time Best of the Brazos winner, Dr. Jeremy Stewart, class of 03. They are just awesome and a good friend of what we do here at TexAgs. And if you're trying to get Invisalign, trying to get braces for yourself or your kids, that's just the place to go. And they're going to do it quick, and they're going to do it with an awesome staff. And they also got a friendly smile as well. 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. Their phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300. Or learn more online at drelms.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. All decked out in fall-themed decorations, the Gardens at Texas A&M welcomes visitors to its fall festival throughout the month of November. Follow the Gardens on social media for more information. Every Saturday, the Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting ornament decorating parties from 1 to 4 p.m. Visit their website for more information. The 26th annual Food for Families Food Drive is Wednesday, December 1st from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Brazos Center. All proceeds benefit the Brazos Valley Food Bank. A presentation for seniors about food as medicine is Wednesday, December 1st. Contact Mature Well Lifestyle Center for more information. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. Always be in the know. Events, guests, contests, and more. Sign up for the Zone newsletter, and then Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., we'll send you an email, and you'll be the first to know. Sign up at zone1150.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
The association, because they support so many different things and they are involved, as a student, you feel like you have somebody in your corner.
We know that Alfredo's family has never seen him march live at Kyle Field. With the help of the Association of Former Students, we're going to end that today. Alfredo's family is here with us.
To the Association of Former Students, I don't know how much I can thank you enough for giving me hope that for anything that goes wrong, something good is going to happen out of it. Whatever they do for the school, it's always going to come out with a smile on someone else's face.
To learn more about the association's impact or to make a gift, visit tx.ag/giving.
The end of the tax year is near, so if you need maintenance or replacement parts for your construction equipment, WPI has you covered. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting for every brand of equipment is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
This is Daryl from Columbus, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Jordan Rogers.
And they throw from behind. That's something, hey, there's my phone. That's something that they haven't shown they can do yet, and I'm not sure if Stetson Bennett's the guy that can do it.
I'm not sure I understand.
See you in
That's
a
my
couple of
computer.
days. We almost got the interview in before phone Armageddon.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
Welcome back to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. 911 University Drive East in College Station. Shop online at davidgardnersjewelers.com. They are a proud corporate sponsor of Aggie Athletics and of this show since day one. We are talking about the Aggies' victory over Prairie View as we get closer to the LSU game, and Billy Liucci rejoins us on the BCSI hotline. Billy, I teased the last segment talking a little bit about the youngsters out there. We can take this several different areas. But first off, let's just start off with that backfield. We heard Jimbo in the last segment talk a little bit about it. Just what you thought you saw from Amari and LJ.
David, I thought they looked terrific. I mean, they looked like what we thought when they signed them. Why I thought it was such a big signing at the time to get Amari, where it wasn't maybe moving the needle in the rankings. This was a guy that A&M went after for a long time. It was at A&M, Georgia, Miami, maybe Penn State. Some big hitters for him. And then Same with Keith Brown. You saw him with that 45-yard reverse, turn on the jet there. And then L.J. Johnson, look, we know what a big deal he was. And L.J. is one of those guys, I'm telling you, he's going to look so much better in games than practice, too. And he's looked good in practice lately. And Amari's turned heads from day one. Amari has a chance to be actually special. And so does LJ, because I think LJ is a guy that just the more you feed him the ball, he's going to wear on defenses. And he's such a powerful runner and breaks tackles and things. Amari's a home run hitter, just an absolute. I think he's pretty gifted. But LJ can be a feature SEC back. Like, just give him the ball. Give it to him 20 times 1 week if you have to. Give it to him 25. Give it to him, and he'll hit some big ones too. But LJ is a guy that I think is better in games than practice. And again, I said both these guys have looked good in practice lately, especially. But in the case of LJ, the way they practice in college football today, all football, you're not tackling guys to the ground. You're not taking them down. And finishing him off with that low center of gravity and the style with which he runs, that's the hardest thing to do. So he doesn't really get to show what he really can do in practice like he will in games. So I think L.J. Johnson's going to be, both those guys are really, really exciting, as was Keith Brown. And it was interesting to watch Kenyon Jackson run around. I don't know that I've written his name this year. And part of that's on me. I just haven't heard a lot about him. And then he's out there and watching me go, man, he actually looks good running down that field. Big outside receiver. It's something A&M needs. People forget, he tore his ACL early on here, and it takes a little, a season and maybe that next season before they're back. But then you follow that up with Weidemeyer talking about him. I don't remember if Jalen talked about it on air with me or off, but he had a lot of good things to say about Kenyon and the way he's been performing in practice. So it's that time of year, man, where you start, seeing and hearing interesting things. And obviously, we talked a lot yesterday about Moose. And I don't care what the situation is at receiver Saturday. I want to see number 7 on the field and target.
Yeah, me as well, Billy. Hey, let's, I don't know what direction you want to go with this. Let's just throw you a couple of things and you run with it. TCU looks like they're going to hire Dykes there from SMU, and Dan Mullen fired from Florida. A lot of shakeups in college football, as expected. The Mullen one, I guess we'll start with. Just, that team just has given up. They have given up.
They really have. That is as bad as I've ever seen, David. And gosh, they came in here at number 4 with Kyle Pitts and Kyle Trask and Kadarius Toney and an unstoppable offense. Unstoppable. And somewhere along the way, Isaiah Spiller running, Buddy Johnson causes a fumble. Isaiah Spiller runs over a linebacker on 4th down. Caleb Chapman makes a catch, and all of a sudden, Jimbo's got a signature win. And you look at these two programs since, and this is stuff that you can't say on Twitter because the jackass contingent will shout you down. But you can say this on radio when we're talking about Texas A&M, because nobody wants to hear, what does Jimbo want? Look, talk to real people. Talk to people like Josh Pate. Talk to people like Tom Hart and Peter Burns and Kubelik and Jordan Roger, our SEC network crew. Talk to Rutledge. They understand. If you understand what I'm saying, nobody wants to hear the A&M Florida comparison because neither team's in the national title hunt. But there's a reality there because those two coaches were hired at the same time. Everyone outside of College Station, Texas, graded the Mullen hire higher than Jim. They were trashing. They were almost trashing the Jimbo hire because they were so upset they left Florida State. Everyone gave Florida more credit. Mullen was smoking mirrors early on because he didn't have to play Bama and Clemson 4 times in his first 2 seasons like Jimbo did. That's 2 less losses a year. That's 2 New Year's Six bowl berths. And it was a 4-0 versus 0-4 in those games. And that was the only difference. Well, then the reality started to set in on both sides. And one guy's a national championship head coach and assistant. The other guy was a championship assistant that won only at Mississippi State, which is impressive, but he didn't recruit at a level. You don't have to recruit at that level at state that you require at places like Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M now. And he failed there. But I was shocked by how quickly, it fell apart. I mean, it's insane. If you would have told me the day they walked off of Kyle Field and Seth Small hit that field goal, hell, 6 weeks later, when the guy throws the shoe in the swamp, if you'd have told me that at either of those points, this team's going to go 2-9 now against Power 5.
Do we lose you, Billy?
No, I said 2-9 now against Power.
Hey, I think we're losing you, but I'll say this real quick. I want to read this out to you, Billy, because I think this could be interesting for this weekend. It looks like reports out on Twitter have Elias Ricks entering his name in the transfer portal. Freshman All-American, sideline for the season in October. Just a big name there leaving LSU as well. So that I know we talk about the recruits that LSU is in the mix with A&M to get, but depending on who they hire, man, those dominoes could certainly fall our way.
Well, David, that's a fascinating and this is going to be really interesting because we haven't even started going down this road yet, which is the cottage industry that's going to pop up, which is transfers. And I mean cottage industry for the fans and for us covering it, because I don't know how many transfers A&M is going to add this year, but my guess is it's a handful, like 4 to 6, 5. I'll just right now, just without really digging into it, I'll put the over-under at 4.5 or 5.5. If it's going to be maybe as many as a half dozen, certainly I think 4, if they're the right 4. But I mean, you could go even higher. So I'd say 5 or 6 would be my initial bet. Look at the programs that are having head coach turnover. You've got LSU, USC, Florida. I just said everything that needs to be said right there, just with those. Then there's, by the way, TCU's got some interesting players, and they're in the state. If Sonny Dykes does indeed take TCU like it sounds like, you've got SMU. You don't think SMU's got a player that could fill a hole at A&M and play and contribute? Have you seen that receiving core? So, I mean, all the way down to stuff like that. And then there's the trickle down of which coaches leave where to take jobs. And then who can you look at and go get? Like, who leaves somewhere to take Florida, and what does that school look like? So, I mean, it's going to be an absolute free-for-all in the portal this year. And for a program like A&M that's got going for them what they've got going for them when they bring guys on campus, Marshall Malco and that staff that's done such an incredible job on the recruiting front, it's a whole nother aspect of their job now that's been added, which is evaluate the entire country. And David, before we go, this isn't just about the portal today. You have to be smart and be paying attention. Like, you got to have your ear to the grindstone, and you've got to find out who is not in the portal yet, but is probably going to enter. And I'm talking about places like, Middle Tennessee State and Rutgers, or anywhere that there are good players to be had that might be leaving. The earlier you can get ahead on them, the more of a chance you have to sign them. So that's kind of become for these guys that are kind of essentially the GMs of a program, your job description just about doubled your areas of responsibility, because it's no longer just recruiting. It's that too. And with these jobs, Elias Ricks, are you kidding me? I'd love to see him, if he's not going to be at A&M, leave the SEC, don't end up in Austin, and go play back on the West Coast. He's an elite cornerback. By the way, it's amazing LSU still has really good defensive backs playing after losing Stingley and Ricks. It just goes to show you that if even Ed O can sit there and recruit like that, that's for all the morons that think LSU's not a better job than Oklahoma. Nobody outside of that ridiculous state up to the north actually believes that, but they keep trying to tell themselves that. And I don't think Lincoln's going to LSU. I don't think they offered him that much money. I don't think Scott Woodward offered Lincoln roughly $100 million to go there. But either way, that's a better job than LSU, and that's the reason why, because you can have meathead Edo recruiting for the program, and you can lose Elias Ricks and Derek Stingley and still have a formidable secondary that A&M's going to face on Saturday.
All right, Billy, we'll see you at 10 o'clock, bud.
All right, bye.
Thanks, man. Billy Liucci there on the BCSI hotline. Around Aggieland next with Richard Zane.
This is The Zone. Aggieland's all sports station.
There's a Kubota for every job. There's a Kubota for every harvest. There's a Kubota for every task. And at Normandy Tractor, for a limited time only, take the drive to Normandy, Texas, and let Vernon and the boys show you what they have. Get the new Kubota BX 1880 16.6 horsepower tractor and a Kubota loader with a quick attach bucket now through December 31st, 2021. For a cash price of only $12,950, or payments as low as $170 per month. With no money down, based on 0% down, 1.99% APR for 84 months. Normandy Tractor has over 8 acres of Kubota tractors, Kubota RTVs, ATVs, and Kubota mowers to choose from. They're at the corner of Highway 39 and OSR in Normandy, Texas. And remember, nobody beats Normandy Tractor. Nobody.
Now through December 31st, 2021. For warranty terms, see Kubota's limited warranty at KubotaUSA.com or your Kubota dealer.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
The Liucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap, or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Liucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Liucci Hour Happy Hour.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Former Packers defensive back Leroy Butler joins us. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers, from where you're sitting, what does it look like, his future? Where do you think all that is right now?
Well, the future's Jordan Love. This is an isolated year. They're going to try to go all in to win the Super Bowl. But the future has to be number 10. I mean, it really is. And I think next year they'll try to get Aaron Rodgers in there. They'll sit down. Where do you want to go? And they'll try to trade him and see if it works out. I think this is the 1 year they have to move on and say, when do we think about the future? We don't want to be like the Saints. We don't want to be like the Washington football team. We don't want to be like some other franchises that don't have a quarterback. We don't want to be like that. We want to be good now and in the future. And I think Jordan Love clock starts next year.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Now that's what's up. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
It's a banger, David.
Bob Bunny here in the Rollo Insurance Studios. Time for Around Aggieland with my buddy Richard Zane. Around Aggieland presented by Normandy State Bank, a rock-solid banking place for you to go. Normandy State Bank. Website is normandystatebank.com. What's up, Richard?
Not much, man. Just hanging out. I do like the Bad Bunny. It was good bumper music for sure.
I played a song for you the other day, and you were like, I kind of like that. I forget which one that was. I think it was Maldita Pobreza.
That sounds about right. The one that kind of sounds like a rock song rather than a rap song? Yeah. I like Bad Bunny a lot. So
Good stuff. Hey, what do we got going around town?
Okay, so Saturday, obviously, Texas A&M football wrapped up its home slate with a 52-3 win over Prairie View. They honored the seniors before the game. Aaron Hansford scored the first touchdown of his career after picking up a forced fumble by Antonio Johnson, returned that 17 yards for a touchdown. Seth Small passed Randy Bullock as the program's all-time leading scorer. A field goal in the second quarter pushed him past Bullock's 365 points. Small currently has 371 career points. Muhsin Muhammad, 5 passes for 77 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's a nominee for the SEC Offensive Player of the Week. With the win, A&M's up to number 14 in both the AP and the coaches poll, up from 16 last week. College football playoff rankings will come out on Tuesday, and of course, they'll wrap up the regular season on Saturday night in Baton Rouge. They'll face LSU. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN from Death Valley. Speaking of Baton Rouge, on Sunday it was another loss for Texas A&M volleyball, a 5-game losing streak for Bird and Company. They fell to the Tigers in 5 sets. Lauren Davis, a match-high 19 kills. Morgan Christian with 18 kills. They'll be back at Reed Arena this weekend. They'll face Missouri for 2 matches on Friday and Saturday. 6 o'clock on the SEC Network Plus on Friday, and then 4 o'clock Central Time on the SEC Network Plus on Saturday. David, it's Thanksgiving, which means holiday hoops. Men's basketball begins the Maui Gym Maui Invitational in Las Vegas. Today they'll face Wisconsin, a 1 o'clock Central Time tip-off, on ESPN2. They'll face either Butler or Houston tomorrow, and they'll wrap up the tournament on Wednesday. And then Gary Blair and company spending the holiday at the U.S. Virgin Islands, playing in the 2021 Paradise Jam at St. Thomas. They'll play Pittsburgh on Thursday, South Dakota on Friday, and Northwestern on Saturday. David.
All right, appreciate you, Richard and Dave and Edmund on the A&B text line. I would love LSU to get Dry Fit Norman. This guy is over his head and runs a soft program. Would be nice to see, guys. All right, when we come back, Peter Burns, Tom Hart, and, of course, Billy Liucci here in studio for the final hour of the Monday edition of TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All that and more coming up.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
Hey parents, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot to consider. No matter what you're searching for, search the Bryan Broadcasting half-price tuition program first. We've partnered with schools and learning centers throughout the area to get your student started with high-quality programs at half price. Right now, we're featuring half-price tuitions at Hopewell Classical Day School, Kingsgate Christian School, Sunshine School, Kinder Music, and more. Half-price tuitions are first come, first served, and availability is limited. Go to halfpricebrazos.com.
This is Aggieland's home for Aggie basketball, Aggie baseball, and Aggie football. The Zone. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Us online at radioaggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on The Zone. Texas A&M police is investigating a weekend robbery and stabbing. According to a UPD news release, this happened on West Campus Friday night around 9 in Research Park. The victim told officers an unknown suspect came up from behind and knocked his phone out of his hands. That led to a fight where the victim was stabbed in his right thigh. The suspect fled without taking anything. The victim went to a local hospital for treatment of what UPD described as a non-life-threatening injury. Anyone with information is at arrest on an enhanced DWI charge. According to College Station police arrest reports, victims told officers the driver that started the chain reaction collisions on Wellburn Road near Balcones sat in his car laughing before he got out and left the scene. After the driver was found in a field with the assistance of one of the victims, breath alcohol samples measured almost 3 times the legal limit. 32-year-old Osvaldo Hernandez of College Station is out of jail after posting bonds. The College Station City Council is meeting tonight to discuss impact fees. During his appearance on WTAW, Councilman John Crompton says roads are the challenge. He says what the city can generate with bond issues is not enough.
For the last 25 years at least, from about 1995 onwards, this city has every 5 or 6 years approved 40, 50, 60 million in bonds for roads. So you work it out, 8 to 10 million a year. We've been putting at roads now regularly for 25 years. That's business as usual. And what have we got? We got congestion.
Crompton says people who are against impact fees are either for congestion or they're for regressive property taxes. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 p.m. at City Hall. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
The small Texas town of Llano is where it all began. The Wooten family created Cooper's old-time pit barbecues, mouth-watering recipes, and cowboy-style cooked barbecue. Decades later, you can still get the same great recipes, cooked exactly the same way by the same family, right here in College Station. Dine in, curbside pickup, or catered. Experience the taste of locally, Aggie-owned, nationally recognized Cooper's old-time pit barbecue. Voted best barbecue in the Brazos Valley and proud supporter of Texas A&M athletics.
The Liucci Hour Happy Hour is a must part of any Aggie football season. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs and Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, every Monday and Thursday at 6 at the Tap, or listen in right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Liucci Hour Happy Hour every Monday, Thursday at 6 is brought to you by King Ranch Saddle Shop. Also brought to you in part by B&B Automotive. It's the Liucci Hour Happy Hour.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hillcomet Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HillcoSupply.com. Number 16, Texas A&M football had no problem with Prairie View A&M on Saturday, rolling past the Panthers 52-3. It was senior day at Kyle Field and an emotional one for safety Leon O'Neal.
I didn't want to leave. I wanted to say thank you to all the fans, the families, the support, and just these Aggies, man. They do so much for us, and I love them. I love them with all my heart, man. So I just want to make sure they know I love them.
Leon and the guys now sit at 8-3 on the year following the win. Now for more on Aggie football, tune into the Liucci Hour tonight from 6 to 7 right here on The Zone. Time for a sneak peek at the SEC, brought to you by T-Mobile. Georgia remains number 1 in this week's AP poll, with Alabama coming in at 3, Ole Miss at 8, Texas A&M at 14, and Arkansas at 25. And that's been your SEC sneak peek, brought to you by T-Mobile, the official 5G sponsor of the SEC. Aggie volleyball came up short to LSU yesterday, falling to the Lady Tigers 3-2. And men's basketball is in Vegas this afternoon, taking on Wisconsin. Tip-off is at 1 o'clock on 1620, 94.5 WTAW. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hillcomet Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Aggie football game day on The Zone starts 3 hours before kickoff with the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com. Game day on The Zone is brought to you in part by Higginbotham Insurance, Stephen Gustitis, attorney at law, Tradition, Mobile One Oil and Lube, and Gage Gandy Bail Bonds. After you listen to the Twin Peaks pregame show powered by TexAgs.com, listen to every single Aggie football game right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
In the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go right to the BCSI hotline. Our good buddy Tom Hart from the SEC Network joining us. Tom, good morning to you, sir.
How we doing? Happy Thanksgiving week.
Happy Thanksgiving week to you too, my friend. So I know you're on the call this weekend. Just give me your thoughts on how big this A&M LSU game is from an A&M. I guess give me both perspectives for what they mean, because obviously Ed O's on his way out. A&M's hoping to get to a 10-win season. Just kind of give me your thoughts heading into this one.
Well, I think for the future, it's obviously bigger for A&M because LSU's hitting the reset button really as soon as this game is over. We don't really know if LSU goes to a bowl, if Ed Ogeron's going to coach them in a bowl. My guess would be he wouldn't, although they're still trying to figure that part out. So, this is a clear the deck and start over. It's going to be a tear down, and they're going to try to build back up. But that doesn't mean that LSU is just ready to go through the motions. I mean, this game means a lot to everyone in that program. And I'll give you an example. In Jimbo's office, there is a glorious painting of the game-winning score in the 7 overtime game against LSU. And there was a picture taken, must have been 3 years ago when we were there, because last year's a COVID year. So 2 years ago, of us having our meeting with Jimbo, and in the background, and it escapes me who had that game-winning catch. But regardless, as soon as that went up on social media, I heard from a couple different members from LSU of that football staff, and they were like, "You've got to be kidding me! That's the picture that's up in Jimbo's office." Now, it's all in good fun, but that was this has turned into a really good rivalry, and there's some dislike there. And I'm not saying at the foundation of it, but certainly part of that was what Ogeron went through before he got this job, where one day it was Jimbo getting the LSU job. The next day it was Tom Herman getting the LSU job. And he told us when we were there a couple of weeks ago, he goes, and we woke up that third morning, and his now ex-wife, he said, my wife turned to me and said, well, one day it was Herman, one day it was Jimbo, today's your day. And sure enough, he got the job. So that's an added storyline to this whole thing.
Talking to Tom Hart here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, Tom, let's figure this out. Dan Mullen is gone from Florida, right? He's done. He's moving on. LSU's still trying to figure out his situation. You've got the USC situation. There's a lot of big-time jobs. It looks like Dykes is going to take the TCU job. When it comes to the musical chairs, though, in the SEC, what's a better gig, LSU or Florida?
That's a great question. First of all, let me rewind a second. I hadn't heard that about Dykes. Maybe just whatever, but that's a great hire for TCU. I mean, that's a big time move and a bolt of energy for them, and that's good. That's if you're a TCU fan, I don't know why you're listening to this show, but if you're a TCU fan, that's a great hire. Well, the thing is, you've got to take into account all these other jobs that are open, right, including USC. Washington maybe have an impact on available candidates. It certainly has an impact on the guys who are going to get raises out of this thing. So that's kind of how I start looking at this. Who's going to be in demand? Who's going to be talked to? Who's going to benefit from these openings? Lane Kiffin and Mark Stoops, 1A and 1B right there. Lane and Oxford, I'm not sure it's a perfect fit. Obviously, what he's done on the field has been great, and there's this enthusiasm in that town, but he has the feeling of a guy who would like to be he's not I don't think he's a big fan, let's put it this way, of being a big fish in a small pond. Everybody loves being a big fish, but I think he'd like a little bit more water to swim around in. So that's why you're hearing these rumors of Lane interested in Miami, because that's as big a pond as you can get, right? So I think there would be interest there for Lane. And I think probably, if he's interested in Miami, where would his interest lie, in Florida or LSU? And that's what he'll have the opportunity to kind of decide, and his agent will have an opportunity to decide, which one we want to chase. I think Mark Stoops has a great opportunity to land either the Florida or the LSU job. I think Bill O'Brien is high on the list of the athletic director, Scott Woodward, at LSU, especially the offensive performance they had last weekend with Bryce Young going off, throwing for 560 or whatever that was. And he's got both NFL and college experience. People like to hate on Bill O'Brien, but it just needs to be pointed out that what he walked into at Penn State, and I was there the day he got hired, has to have been the most disorganized, toxic, unstable position any Power 5 head coach let's qualify here, at a place it expects to win championships has ever walked into. I mean, following Joe Paterno and the unrest with the boosters and the players and the way other programs came in to pick those players off and land at that airport and go recruit the guys that were on the roster, Bill O'Brien inherited a mess is an understatement. So I think when you judge LSU and Florida, you judge a couple different things, and they're probably equal in the amount of talent that you can recruit to within it's a 5-hour drive, right? Because Florida's rich in talent, Louisiana, Houston, rich in talent, probably equal in support. I think the question is, when it comes down to your boss, who would you rather work for, and what do you view as a more stable situation?
Tom, I worked in Houston, did television covering the Texans, so let me just pipe in on Bill O'Brien. I think the Bill that he was in 2014, maybe not the Bill that he became as the general manager of the Texans, because he did trade away Jadeveon Clowney and DeAndre Hopkins for a peanut butter sandwich. But if he wants to trade away Bryce Foster, for Alabama or whomever at LSU, I think we'll take it here at.
Well, let me jump in and ask, because you have this, you have the experience. Is it easy to separate Bill O'Brien head coach from Bill O'Brien general manager? And then if you're an athletic director or on a committee or a booster, how do you let his general manager time, which was an unmitigated disaster, influence whether or not he could be a successful head coach and win a national title?
Well, I think, again, and Bill was actually very cool to me overall, but I believe he as a coach should have been fired as well. And the reason I say that is, he won some AFC South titles there in the worst division in all of football those years that he was winning. But he also is responsible for the Watt-Cat, which JJ got hurt when he put him at fullback and did little different decisions. I would say this, Bill was fine for a moment, but he became a caricature of himself as the time went on there with the Texans. And again, maybe I'm too inside, and we all grow, right? The Bill that was at Penn State did a phenomenal job, and maybe he's grown from his time at Alabama. I grew up an Oilers fan / later on a Texans fan, and I have a bad taste in my mouth.
No, listen, and I'm not saying you're wrong to have that opinion, because that was the experience there. There seems to be, and this is more of a window into the world of college football hirings and firings. Athletic directors have blinders on. They see and hear what they want to see. And more often than not, that is information being fed them by one or two super agents in the college football coaching business that will place their guys where they want to place them. So if Bill O'Brien ends up being a real candidate at LSU, and I believe he is today, or even gets the job, it's because somehow his agent was able to take what happened in Houston, the bad years and the ending especially, and separate it and say that's not who he is. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it all turns into marketing.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. How was that broadcast the other day from the sidelines, Vandy, Ole Miss, and is that something you guys are going to try more often?
It was a lot of fun. I don't think we can do it every game. That game, if you just looked at the point spread going in, wasn't supposed to be that close. And I think, honestly, you could have looked at it and said with Matt Corral, Ole Miss will probably put up a lot of points. They didn't. So you don't want to do it every game, and we want to make sure we serve the viewer. But we thought that was a way to make that game more interesting. And I tell you what, just from a fan perspective, I wish everybody who likes college football, pro football the same way, had an opportunity to be down on the sideline and that close. The size, the speed, the strength, the intensity. I just don't think television does it justice. And I don't think you can see that if you're sitting even in row 30. So to be down on the sideline and that close to the action gave me a better appreciation and perspective. And it made it a lot more enjoyable for me. And I hope we were able to convey that. There was an interception on the sideline late in that game where the defensive back just got his toe inside the chalk, and we were on the side of the paint. We were right there for it. The difference between winning and losing and close and not close is minuscule, and you really see it when you're that close to the action.
Did you have any plans just in case you almost got hit? Was there all right, we're going to move it, because it gets scary on the sidelines.
It can be. There's two rules, all right? Number one, and this was impossible because you're holding a microphone, you never stand on the sidelines with your hands in your pocket, All right. It's kind of like my dad taught me about walking on ice when I was a kid. You can't have your hands jammed in your pocket, or if you slip on the ice, you're going to face plant. All right. Number two, never turn your back to the action. You might be, and I've been at plenty of practices where, you turn to talk to somebody, and next thing you know, a wide receiver and a defensive back come whizzing right by your hip. So face the field, keep your hands available, and stay alert, and generally you'll be fine.
Hey, let's talk Cincinnati for a moment, just big picture, what they've been able to do. I've kind of changed my mind on them, for where I didn't think they deserved an opportunity to be one of the Final Four teams there in the college football playoffs. But I'm intrigued by them, A, because they did have a big win this past weekend, and I just want to see what they can do against the talent, against if it's Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State. Just your thoughts on how this season's playing out for them.
Well, let me ask you, why did your opinion change based on this game? Because their schedule has generally been about the same, right? Yep. I mean, outside of the Notre Dame game, I think it's really hard to judge, what makes a team stand out in that conference. So how did you view it?
I look at it this way. They've continued to do it each week, and this weekend they had a big victory, and I started changing my mind a couple of weeks ago. The Notre Dame game, I had question marks about Notre Dame because I didn't think they were that good, but Notre Dame has sustained their success this year, regardless of who they've played. And I think I'm more intrigued by, let's see what they can do, because if they do something cool in the college football playoffs, then it opens up the door for the future. And if they don't, it might shut it up for a while.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think, by the way, that this 12-team playoff has to get here immediately. And the Pac-12 and the ACC specifically, Saturday night, they should have been on the phone with the alliance and said, this does not work for us. We need 12 ASAP, because they're bounced out of any chance with Wake's loss and with Oregon's demolition. I think the quarterback at Cincinnati is really good. I think the running back is a hidden gem. I think Luke Fickell is an elite coach, not a good coach, not a great coach. He's an elite coach. Like, if any of these openings that we're talking about, LSU, Florida, were the same north of the Mason-Dixon, or specifically in Big Ten territory, Luke Fickell's the choice for all of these. I mean, he's that good, and he is a sensational coach. And I agree with you. Notre Dame looks better and better every week. The other part of this is it's total chaos outside of Georgia. And now you could probably say outside of Ohio State, right? I mean, yeah, Michigan State's passing defense, the worst in the country, and looked like it, especially right off the bat. First quarter, Ohio State just ran right by every DB that was on the field. But in the end, we're seeing that, guess what? The teams with the best recruiting classes are going to be the teams that win the high-profile games. And that's why we end up with Ohio State, Alabama, and obviously Georgia. And then that fourth team, I mean, to me, it's kind of like, why not Cincinnati? It's hard to go undefeated in college football, no matter your schedule. I mean, look it up. It's really hard. You could play a MAC schedule, and it's really hard to win that last game. So I think not only does Cincinnati have the talent on the field, but I think they have a deserving resume too, especially if they finish what they've started.
Hey, let's talk Alabama, Arkansas, and from an Arkansas perspective, another close game. Alabama is winning those games that are close, other than the A&M game. But the job Sam Pittman has done there at Arkansas, they are not the bottom feeder anymore. They look like they're going to be legit for a while. Yeah, they have a lot of transfers and veterans on that team, but just the kind of culture change that he's brought out there.
Well, he told me a couple of weeks ago, he said, I feel less pressure at Arkansas than I did when I was the O-line coach at Georgia. And I said, well, Sam, like, you win 7, they're building a statue, right? You win 7 twice, and they're going to name the stadium after you. I mean, that's just the way it is. They love him there because he's one of theirs, and he's brought this incredible energy. The thing to watch with Arkansas going forward, in my opinion, and they've got Missouri this weekend, and on Friday they're 16-point favorites. Kendall Briles and Barry Odom, with this team's success, have jumped to the top of the list in a lot of these coaching vacancies. Are they going to get the Miami, LSU, Florida, Washington jobs? No, but that next level of job would not surprise me. Would Barry Odom be considered for Virginia Tech? Absolutely. Would Kendall Briles be considered for any head coaching job in Texas? Yeah. I mean, he's got that Texas background, and he directs this great offense. So the question will be, in my opinion, with Pittman is, if and when he loses his coordinators, does he have people ready to step up, and can he then continue that? Because any sort of disruption within programs kind of puts you on edge. And if you're Arkansas and you don't have that lineage of success, it's even harder, right? If Alabama, Nick Saban changes coaches like I change my socks, right? But he's got 75 analysts and he's got guys ready to come up. He can fire his offensive coordinator before the national championship game and pull up another one. It's not everybody can do that. That's rare. So Pittman's done a great job, but I'll discontinue the coach of the year talk at this point. To me, a head coach in the SEC is responsible for everything in the program. And obviously it starts with recruiting in this league. So when we talk coach of the year, let's give a nod to the job that Sam Pittman's done, which has been sensational. But let's also recognize that Kirby Smart has the number one team in the country and is undefeated for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which is the jolt that he brought to their recruiting. So let's make sure Kirby gets credit for that as we talk about who's had the best year.
All right, last thing for you. We live in a world where Missouri and South Carolina are going to a bowl, but Texas is not, and LSU might not. Just your reaction to that.
Well, I don't know which I'm more surprised by, South Carolina or Tennessee. In the transfer portal era, it was suggested that when you lose 30 players like Tennessee did, and I was one of them that said it, you just can't win, not in the SEC. Josh Heupel's done an amazing job. It's hard not to be happy for Shane Beamer. He's so tied into that and emotional and all in on his program. That was a huge win for South Carolina Saturday night. So if somehow Tennessee survived this transfer portal exodus with guys going to Oklahoma and Alabama and North Carolina and starting and being impact players, then how hard will Texas go after talent in the transfer portal? They've got to get players there. You know, they've got to get more players in that program that could help immediately. And to me, it's probably a pretty good example. You go back to the Herman hire of ADs and boosters in this day and age are swinging for the fences. They want to try and hit that home run, even if that means that they're going to strike out more often than they make contact. There are no more doubles or singles hires in major college football. It's let's grab that meteor and let's hope they hit their peak before they flame out. And when Herman didn't, it put them in a bad spot, and they're still digging out of it. So I don't know what the answer is in Austin, but there doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel at this point.
Tom, we appreciate you, sir. Happy Thanksgiving. Catch up with you when you're in town, all right?
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Tom Hart there. I'm going to be on the call for the game. All right, when we come back, Billy should be joining us here shortly. Also, your phone calls and your text messages, and a little bit, Peter Burns, presented by Blue Delta Jeans. All that and more on TexAgs Radio.
Find out first, get scores, updates, and more. Follow the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM on Twitter. Zone 1150.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Howdy, y'all. This is Cullen Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field. And now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at EnergyOgre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
My name is Bobby. I'm a veteran and lost my leg to a roadside bomb. My victory was going from a wheelchair to becoming a weightlifting champion.
I'm Sam. I'm a veteran. My victory was finding a career I can be proud of and supporting my family.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
I'm a veteran. My victory was going from homeless to home.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran, and my victory was finishing my education.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support. for victories great, small.
My victory was proving that disability is not a limitation.
My victory was getting my service dog a new best friend.
We help more than 1 million veterans every year as they face and conquer their challenges.
My victory is being able to be there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Former Packers defensive back Leroy Butler joins us. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers, from where you're sitting, what does it look like, his future? Where do you think all that is right now?
Well, the future's Jordan Love. This is an isolated year. They're going to try to go all in to win the Super Bowl. But the future has to be number 10. I mean, it really is. And I think next year they'll try to get Aaron Rodgers in there. They'll sit down. Where do you want to go? And they'll try to trade him and see if it works out. I think this is the 1 year they have to move on and say, when do we think about the future? We don't want to be like the Saints. We don't want to be like the Washington football team. We don't want to be like some of these other franchises that don't have a quarterback. We don't want to be like that. We want to be good now and in the future. And I think Jordan Love clock starts next year.
It's Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
That's what I was proud of. When you get free hits like that, sometimes you get carried away, get high, get your head in there. That was picture perfect, right? Through the midsection, right in the shoulder, got the shoulder in, head up, all the things you got to do, and created that turnover and got to play. But just the tackle and the form of it and the discipline of it was because sometimes that can get away from you.
That was perfect. It's a GIF. It's a poster. It was exactly what you want to see from your defender, your defense, just laying the hits out there. Antonio Johnson there making a memory for all of us here. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We got some text messages to get into before we go to Peter Burns. That segment brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. But let's go to the News and Social Center. Anna Rosa Peterson there with the A&B text line.
All right, and in response to our topic of the day, Graham in Waco answers it saying, learned just how deep the running back room is. We're in good hands heading forward, even if Spiller leaves for the NFL. Loved our scoring efficiency. 52 points on 447 yards isn't bad. Working with short fields thanks to the defense and special teams and a defensive score, and loathed missing the easy pass. Zach overthrew Anias on a quick swing pass, and while it didn't matter too much this game, we're going to have to be on point next week against LSU.
So I did part of mine, and I guess I'll finish it out here because there was not a lot to loathe, as Billy pointed out. The only thing I put on my notes for loathing, by the way, was giving up any points at all. They didn't give up a touchdown, but they did give up a field goal, and that bothered me. And it doesn't really bother me, but I'm selfish, right? Like, you win a game by 49 points, you do everything right, you got to find one thing that you didn't like. I guess that's what I didn't like. I didn't like that in injuries. But they gave up no touchdowns, so there was that. And the thing that I loved was the recruits coming out. We've gotten used to it, but on a 11 a.m. kickoff with huge names coming out, yes, it was the PV game, but regardless, right? Like, you had Goodwin out there, who is committed to Kentucky, but I think A&M is making him think about something. Park was there, Banks was there, etc. Not a splashy game, yet they came. They had an excellent time, and all season long, Kyle Field has been lit and has been the difference, I think, for a lot of these people's experience, dating back to whatever game you want to point to, but even the Mississippi State game that didn't finish the way we wanted it to. That fourth quarter was electric. It really was. And we saw how electric it was against Alabama, against Auburn. We've seen it all season long. So just props to the 12th man, props to all the fans that came out and made that place electric. It was good stuff. All right, Anna Rosa, what else?
Brandon in College Station gives his takeaway from the Prairie View game. He says Moose should be a first-string receiver, and Antonio Johnson will be a leader on this defense. Considering the injuries and the Butterfingers, I expect to see a lot of Moose.
And we saw Moose come in, and the few times we've seen him this year, he's been phenomenal. Dating back to that scrimmage before the season started for me, seeing it up close to where he is now. So there's been a lot of reason to be excited about that, and Billy Liucci's lurking. It's all right. He can come in. I'm about to read a spot, but he's just been phenomenal out there. Milliken Reserve Time, farm-to-table community in College Station. They've got homes, they've got trails, they've got farms, they've got wide open spaces. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature, And that's what they got. They got a healthy community. They got nature. They got good people. They've got awesome farms. And I get our veggies there every week. I can't take credit for going every week. My wife goes often. But what a great little system you have there. You pay, you pick it up, boom. You got your veggies for the week. Grill them, however you want to cook your veggies. But they're going to keep it as fresh as possible. And it's just so nice of a place. 2,600 acres of open space, farms, and trails. They've got it all. And if you're into outdoor activity, they got that. Hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals, farmers market stores. All that is on there. And also great homes and communities. Go check it out. It is Milliken Reserve. Check them out at millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. All decked out in fall-themed decorations, the Gardens at Texas A&M welcomes visitors to its fall festival throughout the month of November. Follow the Gardens on social media for more information. Every Saturday, the Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting ornament decorating parties from 1 to 4 p.m. Visit their website for more information. The 26th Annual Food for Families Food Drive is Wednesday, December 1st from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Brazos Center. All proceeds benefit the Brazos Valley Food Bank. A presentation for seniors about food as medicine is Wednesday, December 1st. Contact Mature Well Lifestyle Center for more information. For more information about becoming a master gardener, visit brazosmg.com. Always be in the know. Events, guests, contests, and more. Sign up for the Zone newsletter, and then Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., we'll send you an email, and you'll be the first to know. Sign up at zone1150.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Howdy, y'all. This is Colin Gillespie, former 12th man. I've always tried to help my team on and off the field, and now I'd like to help Texas A&M fans like you cut their electricity bills in half. Yep, in half. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars every year. 90% of Texans overpay for electricity, so don't be one of them. Sign up today at energyogre.com and use code GILLY, G-I-L-L-Y, for a free month of service.
There's a Kubota for every job. There's a Kubota for every harvest. There's a Kubota for every task. And at Normandy Tractor, for a limited time only, take the drive to Normandy, Texas, and let Vernon and the boys show you what they have. Get the new Kubota BX 1880 16.6 horsepower tractor and a Kubota loader with a quick attach bucket now through December 31st, 2021. For a cash price of only $12,950, or payments as low as $170 per month. With no money down, based on 0% down, 1.99% APR for 84 months. Normandy Tractor has over 8 acres of Kubota tractors, Kubota RTVs, ATVs, and Kubota mowers to choose from. They're at the corner of Highway 39 and OSR in Normandy, Texas. And remember, nobody beats Normandy Tractor. Nobody.
Now through December 31st, 2021. For warranty terms, see Kubota's limited warranty at KubotaUSA.com or your Kubota dealer.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with comedian George Wallace about keeping a notepad beside his bed in case he has an idea about a joke.
But I did that at 3 o'clock in the morning, the top 5 exes in the world. That happens all the time. You wake up, sometimes you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you write a joke down and you look at it the next day, you can't read it, you go, what the hell is this?
Sports Talk will leave you laughing. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Put your headphones on. Listen to this. You like it? I'm not talking so they don't turn it off.
And you bargained for yet. Don't want me to tell you anything I wanna hear. That's just who I am this week. Lie in the back next to the mausoleum.
You know the words to every song.
Nuno, you're just a notch in your bedpost, but you're just a line in a song. Who's this? Not Fall Out Boy. Who is it?
I can't tell you.
Who is it?
I don't know. I don't know who anybody is. I know, like,
for the wrong
It is
team.
Fallout Boy.
Fallout Boy. All right. Well, I know, like,
We're going downtown in an early round.
You'd love to say.
That's my 90s. It's not even 90s, though. That's 2000s.
Hey, our good friend Peter Burns is on hold, wondering what in the world are we talking about. Peter, good morning to you, sir.
It's been another thing. That's all I got. What's up, boys?
Exactly. What's up, Burnsy?
Me and Chris Doring just finished our radio show, and we keep looking at each other like, well, who are you guys hiring? And he asked me, who are you guys hiring? Like, it's just a sad state of affairs being a Florida and LSU fan right now.
Golly, I didn't even think about that. Double. How about those two jobs being open in the SEC and not even we're like ignoring the fact that USC's open. I mean, this is crazy right now with the Gators and Tigers.
Virginia Tech, Washington. I mean, the amount of raises Jimmy Sexton is going to get his clients this year is going to be nothing short of fantastic. Like, I mean, Christmas always comes early for Sexton, but this year, holy, but I mean, it's amazing. And guys, I don't know. I mean, I think that's why everybody keeps going back to the well with Jimbo, and Aggie fans should be happy that they have them. I mean, who out there feels like this? You can't miss head coach. Like, I feel like this is as thin as a candidate pool has been in a long, long time.
Yeah, it really is, and it's like, at what point does somebody start going, Tom Herman ain't that bad, and Dan Mullen stunk at Florida, but he could probably coach here. I mean, Burns, I can't even wrap my head around what the portal's going to look like with all these high-profile jobs coming open and all the quality players at some of these schools, not to mention then the boomerang effect or the domino effect that happens when other coaches start taking these jobs. But what's the latest?
I mean, it happened already today. Think Eli Ricks, right? Eli Ricks, a great cornerback that was at LSU and got banged up. He put his name in the transfer portal. It was reported that this morning. So, I mean, I mean, we're starting to see that. I mean, again, I know a lot of the coaches like the early signing period because, boom, they had two opportunities to land who they wanted. They can go out there and get the first pass of the buffet. But ultimately, it also ratcheted up a lot of the pressure on these coaches as well, too, because now, hey, you gotta make your recruiting hay while you can, and that's why some of these moves are made before this first signing day.
And rewind 2 years ago. I keep saying rewind about a year when Dan Mullen brought number 4 Florida here, and Jimbo had to win the big game was the narrative, and because his record against the top 5 at A&M, which I thought was always kind of a weird parameter to put on a third-year coach. But he came in here. Mullen was flying high. Heck, even a month later when the shoe was thrown, they were in the national title picture. But 2 years ago, look at Edo and Dan Mullen, and in his first 2 years at Florida, they won New Year's Six bowls. It's shocking how quickly both of these things have kind of come unraveled, or is it not?
I mean, maybe now let's take big picture, right? And David, let's take a look at like how has the transfer portal handled that, right? I mean, I think it's one of those situations. It's like it's microwavable social media, right? Like everybody wants their team to be good right now, especially if you've had success in the past, like in LSU or Florida. But then now with the transfer portal, these other quote unquote mid-tier teams like Missouri, like South Carolina, Arkansas is a great example, can get better kind of overnight. And all of a sudden, they're causing more, trouble. And is this good for college football? I mean, it creates a whole lot of parity, but I mean, this has got to be the greatest gift to Georgia football that you can have, right? I mean, like Florida's done for the next 3 years. Nobody else is going to push them. I mean, Georgia's going to have the easiest run out of any team and not named Clemson in the ACC right now for the foreseeable 4 to 5 years.
Peter Burns with us here on the BCSI hotline presented by Blue Delta Jeans. All right, Peter, help me understand LSU as a team this year. They're in games that they are expected to lose, and they're in it to the very end. The Arkansas game, the Alabama game, the Florida game was close. They ended up winning that one. Ole Miss was actually close at times, and then they pulled away. Who is this LSU team, and who are we going to see this weekend?
I mean, an average team at best. I mean, Max Johnson's a good quarterback, but he's not elite and not great that we've seen. And again, it's a team that I still think has a lot of guys that were part around that 2019 team and saw it, and a bunch of guys that came up around that, the program who said, hey, man, this is not nearly as much fun as it was playing through a pandemic and playing, kind of the string out here. I mean, this is a game, frankly, guys. I know it's a rivalry game, but in my mind, A&M should win by 2 touchdowns, easily right now. I just, the right way in Baton Rouge. And again, this is one of those recruiting ones that Jimbo can not only win, but really kind of turn the tide for 1 or 2 years if they have a beatdown there in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I'm looking at what's going on in Austin, what's going on in Baton Rouge, and then Jimbo also being able, if he's able to beat LSU in Baton Rouge and go 3-1 against the Tigers. Because remember, the Aggies started SEC play 0-6 against these guys, and it was a big part of why Kevin Sumlin couldn't last and couldn't make it. Because you can beat Auburn all you want, and A&M's about 500 against them, and they're a respected program, obviously. But for the Aggies, this is about get where you got to be. It's 100% about beating Alabama and LSU still in the West, isn't it? And I know, like you said, those Arkansas, Mississippi States, and Ole Misses, they can certainly spoil seasons. I mean, look what all three of them did to A&M this year. But isn't it in order to get there, Jimbo's got to clear not only the Alabama hurdle, but also kind of this is a chance to maybe exert a little dominance in that LSU rivalry, which, like you said, that's such a big deal for recruiting.
Yeah, the lifeblood, right? You share a border. The amount of guys that are going to say, I'm going to go one place or another. The facilities are better at Texas A&M. There's not a lot of ancillary issues around the program like there may be down in Baton Rouge. I mean, again, this is when, the game within the game is that you win this game and win it decisively, because then you can just completely double down on your recruiting efforts. And I mean, I'm glad that Jimbo said what he did about how you have to be the dumbest person in the world to leave the recruiting class that continues to stack up there, right? I mean, it does feel like we're getting a situation right now where it's Alabama and it's Georgia and it's A&M and everybody else. Right, like there's this upper tier of football, and even in quote unquote a bad year for A&M, you're still able to beat Alabama. You're still able to probably beat LSU, have a top 5 recruiting class. Like that's what great programs do, and the A&M has put themselves in that conversation as one of the great 5 or 6 programs in all of college football right now.
And yeah, I think it's that close, especially if you close out this season the right way in this recruiting class where it looks like it's going. I'll tell you someone else on the ascent. It's a different trajectory, obviously, in year one. But Peter, I haven't been as shocked by a turnaround. I watched South Carolina here, and I think it was Cole and Jordan and Tom were here, and that was an awful, awful football team. I mean, they had 15 yards a few minutes into the fourth quarter of total offense. It was, if you would have told me they will quit after this weekend and never win another game, I would have said so. The job, talk a little bit about the job that Shane Beamer's done. And I know we don't talk much about South Carolina here, Nuno, but that was incredible.
It was good.
It's been incredible.
Yeah, and I had Shane on my show this morning, and I mean, it just, he wakes up every single morning and talking about a guy that wants to be there, right? Like, and I think that permeates through that facility, right? Like, some guys are kind of hired assassins. They don't have a buy-in in there. And what I watched on that South Carolina game against Auburn is like the little things, guys. It's like, it'll be a 2nd and 9 in the middle of the second quarter. It's a 2-yard gain. But I see everybody in South Carolina moving to the ball on defense, or the vice versa. Hey, somebody gets pushed out of bounds. Hey, you got 5, 6, 7, 8 South Carolina guys helping their own teammate up. Like, it's a truly team environment, and that comes from Shane Beamer. Like, he wakes up every single day, and he's like, I would kill to make this team good again, right? It's not about me. It's about, like, I live and breathe every single second. And it showed, man. I mean, listen, Auburn's a better team, and Beamer, he told me, in the fourth quarter, they ran the same running play 8 times in a row.
Wow.
Because Auburn couldn't adjust to it. And that's not a talented team. Like, that's embarrassing for Auburn, but it just goes to show you, like, Beamer's got those guys wanting to play hard. And, I mean, listen, if they beat Clemson, outside of Kirby, I don't know if he's not the SEC Coach of the Year.
Hey, Peter, I want to go back to LSU for a second and just ask you what camp you stand in when it comes to Bill O'Brien. Your thoughts on the potential interest in OB over there at LSU. What do you think about the job he did at Penn State with the Texans and what he's doing there with Alabama, and if he's a good fit?
I mean, the Texans thing was such a disaster for so many different reasons, as you know. You covered it closer than I did, and that was probably more of a management and cooks in the kitchen situation than anything. I'm fine. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, I haven't really dug back into what happened with him at Penn State, and I know he did a great job after the whole, Sandusky scandal, and, that was going to be left for dead, and he did a good job, putting that thing together. I mean, it's not bad. It just doesn't have that quite sizzle. And maybe that's what LSU needs, right? Like, Les Miles was kind of a weird cat, of course, and Ed Orgeron was a different kind of guy. Like, maybe it's fine to have kind of, hey, he's a boring head coach that gets things done, and he's going to bring some stability to that program. I mean, that's not Lane Kiffin for sure, but I don't know if LSU can afford to go with kind of a risky coach at this point. Just simply for the fact of, it's kind of been wobbly over the last couple of years. It's been fun as hell to watch because you have zero idea what team shows up each and every week and each and every season. But that's a program that deserves stability. And I think that's why they keep trying to make a run at Jimbo Fisher, because they know they see that's happening in College Station.
Lane Kiffin will coach against Texas A&M next season at Kyle Field.
I saw your tweet. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
all right. Thank you. You have a lot of brilliant tweets yourself, Peter. But but where will that be? Like, I don't think it's going to be at Miami. But man, if that Florida job, if they do target Lane Kiffin somehow, could you see him leaving Oxford for Florida? Because I keep hearing behind the scenes, Kiffin to Florida, Lebby takes over it at Ole Miss. And I've even heard the name. I've even heard the name Art Briles mentioned as the OC there in Oxford. As much of a bombshell as that would be.
I don't know if I go that far as far as the Briles situation, but
I would hope not. But
it just sounds. Yeah, I mean, I think Lane could easily sell that going, listen, Jeff Lebby is the guy, right? He's the brains. He's calling the offense. You're in great hands. It's a great opportunity for his boy Lebby. And listen, Florida is on a different tier than where you're at with Ole Miss. As much as I love Ole Miss, I mean, like, is this the cap of what you can do? I think it's also a lifestyle situation. I think he would like it in Florida. He's had success there. He's recruited well, of course, going back in the day. I mean, I think his first choice would be Miami because it's, everything outside of the coaching world in his personal life. He'd probably like a big city, and he wants to be a kind of a small fish in a big pond, as opposed to being the big fish in a small pond in some of these SEC, towns and cities right now. So I think it'd be Miami one. Florida would be interesting. And listen, I think if Lane goes to Florida, all of a sudden, I don't know if there's a huge rebuild process like anybody else might have with the Florida Gators. But I mean, it's nice to be Lane Kiffin right now. The question is does Lane take that job for 2 or 3 years and go somewhere else? I mean, like, are you going to try to find somebody that's going to be there for 10 years?
Yeah.
Peter Burns, brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. Thanks, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
You guys have a great Thanksgiving. See you, boys.
All right, see you, PB.
Appreciate you. And one final thought on OB. I don't think he deserves LSU. I don't think he's good. I would love to see him end up there. But I think after what he did at the Texans and some of the mistakes he's made at Alabama, maybe an Ole Miss type of level job, not LSU, one of the premier jobs out there. I just don't think you jump to that. But but I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Spoken like a true Houstonian too,
right?
But I'm with you. I'm both fronts. I'd love to see it, and secondly, I don't think he's earned a job like that based on his. Forget about personal. And forget about what he did at the Texans organization, which to me is a major red flag.
Yep.
But even if you just said winning and losing football games and how he let that organization, that team and the product they put on the field deteriorate to go along with, again, this Alabama. And look, the crazy thing is, here's the thing. Texas Longhorn fans can pull their collective heads out of that big Longhorn bovine behind that they've all got them shoved up in all year, and pull their heads out and understand one thing. Bill O'Brien might produce a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback at Alabama. So let you in on a little secret, Longhorn fans. If Bill O'Brien can do it, anybody can do it.
Bam.
So Lane Kiffin, he did it too. So did Mike Locksley. No one's touting Locksley. He's a good coach. No one's touting him as one of the greatest offensive minds in football. Kiffin, Sark. Bill O'Brien's going to produce a Heisman winner without Ruggs, Smith, Waddle, and who's the other one? Jerry Jeudy.
Right.
And without Najee Harris, with a fifth-year senior running back and a patchwork offensive line. So, again, how good is Steve Sarkisian? Because if you guys haven't learned enough by watching that Longhorn football team this year, maybe you'll start to realize that all your BS talking points this summer were just that.
They were
you
just
hired
that.
a scab.
I like it. One final segment is TexAgs Radio.
Your home for Sunday and Monday night NFL is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The NFL is on the zone.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They've got the pizza with that fresh made taste to put a smile on your face. Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. When you need a break, they got the right food, and it's a really great place.
Your choices have expanded at Double Dave's, including the choice to eat in their dining room. You can also choose daily lunch specials like pepperoni rolls for $1.50, a $4 garden salad, and your choice of sandwiches, medium stromboli, or small 2-topping pizza for just $6.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They'll keep you hopping for the pizza with the toppings that can't be beat. Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They got your pizza if you're up in the morning or you're staying up late.
Specialty pizzas are $8. Add a drink for $1 or get a medium pizza of the month for just $10. Click doubledaves.com to order carry-out, curbside pickup, or delivery, including contactless delivery.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They've got the pizza with that fresh made taste to put a smile on your face.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today. Ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
This is ESPN Radio. Mario Cristobal, Oregon head football coach.
The noise, the hype, the BS will never have anything to do with the result on Saturday.
Cordell Patterson.
Whenever my numbers call, man, I just try to go out there and just show these coaches they can believe in me.
Brian Snicker, Braves manager, World Series champion.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Jaguars linebacker Josh Allen.
That's what I love about this team, man. We're young, we fiery.
Dory Jackson, Giants cornerback.
If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even be a Dory Jackson. You'd have been just a guy running track somewhere.
He go back to 2012 when I was on his 7-on-7 team.
Kenny Pickett, quarterback, Pittsburgh Panthers.
Something I do every week with the O-line. You know, our hog dinners, we used to only do one, but obviously didn't have the NIL. You know, the bank account looked a little different.
Head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich.
You got any room for an old geezer like me on the roster?
I was definitely going to throw that out there to you. I know you can still do it.
Listen in to ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 and 93.7 FM.
All right, guys, it's time to end the day with Double Dave's. Caller number 12 at 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a medium pizza or half dozen pepperoni rolls from Double Dave's, serving Aggieland since 1984. Order online at doubledaves.com for curbside pickup or free delivery. That is doubledaves.com. All right, it is TexAgs Radio. One final segment here, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Our thanks to everybody on the A&B text line and the BCSI hotline. All right, Billy. One easy question for you before we go up. LSU will attack the Aggies the way we've seen other teams give Aggies fits, which is make it very difficult to run. You brought up the point earlier that Alabama had a hard time running. I think they had, 6 yards rushing against LSU. So this is a game where Zach is going to have to put on his big boy pants and throw the ball well.
Yeah.
But also, defensively, you got to put them in some bad spots.
Absolutely. And because this is a game, David, where I think turnovers define it. And I think A&M both teams with their ability to stop the run, but A&M such a better running team that as that game wears on, you'd like to think that A&M will win the battle of attrition in that department. And Zach Calzada's got to understand that that's kind of how a game like that's going to go. That doesn't mean you don't try to make plays. But I think Jimbo's got to really be in his play calling bag. They're going to have to really hit them with play action, take advantage of this newfound aggressive nature that Ed O and the defense have kind of embraced. They're kind of just letting it all hang out. They're risking a lot for a lot of reward, which means Zach is going to have to throw the ball and beat those receivers. Going to have to beat one-on-ones. He's going to have to get rid of it quickly and complete some passes down the field. And these are things that this passing game has not done very well for most of this season. So they're going to do that. But I think the key in this one, Nuno, is your defense. Again, I go back to the Auburn game. Your defense has to just say, we're carrying this thing. We've had a hell of a year. We're coming off a bad game against Ole Miss the last time we played a real team. We're coming on the road, and we want to choke these guys out from the outset. LSU went 59 minutes without scoring a point last year in this game. I'm not saying that the Aggies need to have that level, but they need to play defense that good. They need to shut the LSU running game down, put Johnson in some obvious throwing situations. They'll whip that O-line and get to him, and that's where he'll make mistakes. And you can set up Calzada and that offense with some easier scoring opportunities. And that's the formula for what Peter Burns was saying, which was a multi-score A&M win.
Yep.
Otherwise, look, they took Bama to the wire. They took Arkansas to the wire. I don't know why we're sitting here today saying that they won't take A&M to the wire unless that defense plays one of its two best games. They have to play at the Auburn level.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate you. All right, hopefully we'll get Moose over the top. That'll do it for a Monday edition of TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We will see you guys mañana.